Vajradhara Sumahati Muni Shahasahane Kama Uttavahadanye Sri Bahadra Vasamanya Sawasidi Hum Pakya Kekuda Dahagilu Pakya Kesunda Dagina Pakya Ketuda Dahagilu Muni Shakya Muni Soha Om Maitreya Maitreya Maha Maitreya Arya Maitreya Soha Om Maitreya Maitreya Maha Maitreya Arya Maitreya Soha Om Ahum Karuna Karuna Maha Karuna Arya Karunaye Soha Om Ahum Karuna Karuna Maha Karuna Arya Karunaye Soha. Okay, hello everybody, buongiorno. Se non mi capisci in inglese devi mettere le cuffie, va bene, perché c'è Alexandro lì, no? In la scatola di traduzione, la booth di traduzione, yeah? Okay, we have like this very nice system of like thanks to our very good translators like Alexandro and Luciana and Maria Cristina. We have like this great possibility to have simultaneous translation. So please pick up your headphones, okay? And also, Dawn, can you please give this to Alexandro in the translation booth? Yeah? Oh, he's got one. Okay. Down. Okay. Maybe it's my ear. I don't know. Maybe my ear's not at the right height. I don't know. Hang on. Better? Okay. Yeah, it's all right now. Okay. Okay. Namo Guru Pye Namo Buddhaya Namo Dhammaya Namo Sanghaya Namo Guru Pye Namo Buddhaya Namo Dhammaya Namo Sanghaya Namo Guru Pye Namo Buddhaya Namo Dhammaya Namo Sanghaya Namo Triratnaya Lucio Sampo Pelgyuta Shipa Tu Centem Pehetin Leia Noda Pegedro Lozam Pezepacen Palden La Mehesha Blaso Wade Oma Guru Vajradhara Suhumahati Muni Shahasahane Kama Uttavahadanye Sri Bahadra Vasamanya Sawasidi Humama Guru Vajradhara Suhumahati Muni Shahasahane Kama Uttavahadanye Sri Bahadra Vasamahanya Sawasidi Hu. Okay, so today what we're going to do is we're going to look a little. This is actually it's called NgalSo Tantric Self-Healing number 4. And I know it's been quite a long time in appearing, but anyway, this is Lama Gangchen, beautiful book on Vajrapani, on mental health. Okay, so recently, over the last few months, many friends have been working together to make we had one edition before, but to make a nicer edition, you know, okay. And also what we've been doing is finishing to translate the Italian version. So definitely, if you had the Italian version of this before, there's like half missing, yeah. So you need to get the new version slowly. It's in our shop, okay. Yeah. So, okay, so. Anyway, so please, all of you that's coming, what we're going to do, like today and so on, is we're going to read the text together. Yeah, okay. In Italian, Alexandro will read, and you can listen to him, and you can follow. But anyway, we're going to read the text and talk about it today. Yeah, as an introduction of the Vajrapani practice. Okay. So within Vajrayana Buddhism, which is a special part of Mahayana Buddhism. Okay. Of course, we have thousands of different, you can see here, thousands of different like Buddhas and holy beings and so on, yeah? So here in our temple of heaven on earth, we can see this mandala. We've been talking these days, no? The mandala of the 5 supreme healer Buddhas, yeah? And the 5 great mothers, which are like the building blocks of our enlightenment, right, yeah? So these days we've been talking about 5 Buddha families, no? Like Vajra family of Ikshobhya, Ratna family of Ratnasambhava, Lotus family of Amitabha, Kama family of Amoghasiddhi, and Wheel family of Vairocana, who's in the center of the self-healing mandala, right? Okay. So these days we've been explaining in terms of 5 Buddha families, okay? But there's many other ways to look at reality in Buddhism. Always so we have a kind of multiverse, actually, of views, you know, okay? And okay, so Lama Gangchen used to say you could have like 100 Buddha families, like you can see here in our Gompa, or you can have like 5 Buddha families, yeah, like the 5 Dhyani Buddhas, or you can have 3 Buddha families or 1 Buddha family like Buddha Shakyamuni, okay? So Vajrapani, okay, we have a trinity of practices, Vajrapani, Chenrezi, and Manjusri, which somehow, I mean, everything is like the best, the most important, and so on, but very, 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 very important, yeah? Within the way of thinking and practice of Vajrayana Buddhism, of Tibetan, modern Indo-Tibetan Buddhism, okay? So, Vajrapani, okay, is within the Vajra family of Supreme Healer Akshobhya. So it's like we're continuing what we were doing the last few days, but now we're going to go into a specific flavor of Akshobhya, yeah, okay? We were talking, no, that each Dhyani Buddha is the head of one rig, like one lineage, yeah? And inside is many, many different kinds of Buddhas. And as we were saying, it doesn't depend who goes where, it doesn't depend on their color, yeah? It depends on their action, their quality, yeah? So Vajrapani is one of the most important Buddhas of the Akshobhya family, okay? Why? Because Vajrapani principally is about mental stability, like Akshobhya, yeah, okay? Once we understand the idea of the 5 Dhyani Buddhas and the 5 mothers, then everything becomes much more easy, okay? So just like Akshobhya is like this stable energy, touching the ground, the mind's not shaking. This is what we need with the practice of Vajrapani, yeah, okay? So, the original version of this, actually, we make in 1994 in Kumpen Lama Gangchen in Milano, okay, yeah? So, at that time, you know, Lama Gangchen had decided, first he was going around when he came to the West, now as a healer, healing many, many people who were incurably sick in body and mind, you know, and many of them got really very much better, okay? So then in the late 80s, he founded the Kumpen Lama Gangchen Institute for the Diffusion of Vajrayana Buddhism and Tibetan Medicine in Milano, okay? And right from the beginning, actually, one of the main practices that we did there was Vajrapani, yeah? Okay, so in those early times, actually before Rinpoche started to share self-healing and make peace in the environment, so in our temple there in Milano, on the altar, I don't know where it is nowadays, but there used to be like a huge picture of Vajrapani, yeah? Enormous, yeah? Maybe 2 meters high, yeah? Yeah? Oh, it's moved to Kathmandu. Okay, good. Maybe they need that, no? I don't know, yeah? Okay. Anyway, so we have this like huge tanker. Thomas says now it's living in our Gangchen Drupkang in Kathmandu. Good, yeah? So since the beginning, you know, Lama Gangchen, he was always sharing principally like healing practices like Open-Eye Chenrezi, White Tara, Medicine Buddha, Vajrapani, Hayagriva, Garuda, these kind of practices, okay? Why? Because we need, yeah, okay? You know, most people come to the meditation center not because they're feeling super happy, they come because they want to feel better, no? Okay. So, of course, nowadays we have like the mindfulness movement and all that, and, you know, watching your breath, and it's good, yeah, okay, so people feel better, but we have many, many, many other kinds of healing practice, yeah, of which Vajrapani is one very important one, yeah. So, hi, Nune. Nune is going to help me to read the, somebody did you get a book? In English? Good, okay, thanks, yeah. So maybe you come here, yeah, okay, and we start to read together, yeah. So in the Vajrayana Buddhism, okay, I was saying we have 5 Buddha lineages that can be condensed into 3, which is like the Vajra family of Ekshobhya, yeah, the Lotus family of Amitabha, and the Wheel family of Vairochana, like Om, Hom, yeah. So Vajrapani is like a big thing in Vajrayana Buddhism, okay? And Vajrapani is actually in the, what we call Action Tantra version, the Charya Tantra version, also in the highest Yoga Tantra version, yeah? Many, many different ways to do, because throughout the last, 2,000 years or something, yeah? People have always done Vajrapani practice to have a stronger, more healthy mind, okay, yeah? Okay. So there's many, many different forms, yeah? So inside this book, yeah, this book is called, TYS Lama Gangchen Rinpoche, Chana Dorje Semso Negya Menchik, okay, which means Vajrapani, one medicine that heals 100 mind sicknesses, yeah, NgalSo Tantric self-healing 4, a panacea for a peaceful mind, yeah, so Negya Menchik means a panacea in Tibetan, yeah? It means one medicine that heals 100 different problems, okay, yeah? And Rinpoche, you know, he's Lama Gangchen, we do always say NgalSo, okay, yeah? How to relax and recover the energy of body and regenerate the energy of body, speech, and mind, yeah? But he also wanted to launch this kind of series of practice called Semso, which is specifically, So means to recover, to regenerate, yeah? So Sem is mind, and So means regeneration, recovery, okay? So this is actually like the first book of the Semso mind regeneration series, okay? Yeah? Yeah? So, Nunelai, do you want to come here? Because we have actually, in 3 days, we're not going to read all this, but we make a start, you know, okay? And then actually later on we need to continue, we need to understand how to do, and then we need to do a retreat, and many things, okay? But first, you know, I'd like, obviously, thanks, of course, to Rinpoche, who was extremely pleased and delighted to make this book, by the way, yeah? And then, all the different people who helped to do this, I don't know, like Sharon, Carmen, Caterina was helping to translate the Italian, then Aloho, Renata, all the people who helped to make these sadhanas also. Of course, you don't see, you know, people who watch us, but then we have all our translators, you know, like Alexandro, Luciana, Mary Christina. So it's a big team making these things together, yeah, okay? So thanks everybody for making this, okay? Which we can all consider like the final version of the subject, yeah, okay? So please go ahead and buy one, yeah? Okay? Yeah? Yeah? Oh, okay, was it? Okay, never mind. Doesn't matter. Yeah? Yeah. I thought we were supposed to start at 10. It says 10, yeah. Okay, so anyway, so after we had made the self-healing 2, making peace with the environment, and self-healing 3, then at that time, there was coming many people with mental health issues, to the Kumpen Lama Gangchen, to see Lama Gangchen, yeah? So Lama Gangchen, as a healing Lama, he had many different ways to make people recover their minds, basically, yeah? So then he asked us to, well, I worked together with him writing this down, okay, in the early 90s, and finally now we've got a very clear version, okay, yeah? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start to read it and comment on it, okay, yeah? So, okay, so I've brought Nune here because it's too much for me to read everything, so we read together, no? Okay, yeah? Okay, So, first we start dedication. There's no page, yeah? May the pure crystal energy of Vajrapani destroy all shadows, overcome all inner demons, and bring peace to humanity in the 3rd millennium. Om Vajra Samaya Vijaya. Commitment to the victory of pure crystal energy, yeah? So, what we're going to do, okay, this is me talking, not the book, yeah? In this book, yeah? It's a compilation of how to do the practice of Vajrapani. 2 different versions. One's called Vajrapani Hayagriva Garuda, yeah, the Lord of Secrets, yeah, which Rinpoche always promote a lot, really help people to be more mentally stable. And also there's a practice called a Mahachakra Vajrapani, which is the highest yoga tantra form of Vajrapani, yeah. In this book, actually, there's a very short sadhana of that. That's like one door we need to go through and gradually explore. It's very interesting practice, But anyway, so this book is a combination of these 2 practices, but what Lama Gangchen did is he put together, yeah, not only the meditation side, of Vajrapani practice, but also he took from the Gushi, the medical tantras, the whole information about mental health, yeah, okay? Because many of us now are interested in Tibetan medicine or Ayurveda, these kind of things, because it's very helpful, very useful, right, yeah? So the Tibetan medical text, the Gushi, yeah, it's like a combination of the Ayurveda tradition together with some aspects of Chinese medicine, yeah, plus Buddhism, all, yeah, mixed together, yeah, okay. So if we, for example, since a long time we've had the beautiful Medicine Buddha book, yeah, okay, a rainbow of healing nectars of Lama Gangchen, yeah, which explain very well about the 3 doshas, the 3 humours, wind, bile, and phlegm, and about the 5 elements and how we should behave, according to our biotype, yeah? So, what you should eat or not eat, what kind of environment you should be in, there's a whole kind of lifestyle advice for us to put into practice to bring ourselves into balance, okay? Yeah, okay. So this is actually the companion volume, they go together, the medicine book and the Medicine Buddha book and the Vajrapani book, yeah? So this book, it goes into more detail about how to heal the mind from the Tibetan medical tradition, okay? Yeah? So it's quite different from let's say the Western idea, but anyway, very interesting. Maybe we should examine it and think about it, yeah? Okay? But anyway, so where should we start? Okay, we'll start with the preface by Lama Gangchen Rinpoche, okay? Here you can see a picture of actually Vajrapani from Borobudur, yeah? Okay, so Vajrapani is not something made up by Tibetans, yeah? Actually, Vajrapani was one of the, what we call 8 great bodhisattva disciples of Lord Buddha Shakyamuni, so he was a real person, yeah? Okay, yeah? And he features actually many of the different Mahayana sutras, yeah? So if you look at the earliest images of Vajrapani, Rinpoche was always talking about this. It was kind of like Buddha's kind of bodyguard or something, yeah? So the earliest representations actually from Afghanistan or India, yeah? He's like a guy with a big stick, yeah? Standing next to the Buddha, yeah? Okay? And so anyway, since, he was basically he was like the Buddha's security guard, except he was a bodhisattva, yeah? Okay? An enlightened security guard, yeah? So he's taking care of the Buddha's teaching since the beginning, yeah? And then slowly came out many different ideas of how Vajrapani look and so on, yeah? Okay? So, Nunela, do you want to read the preface, and then we will comment. I'll comment on it. Okay. So this is page 17 in English, if you want to follow it along, and in Italian it's okay. Italian you need to follow Alexandro. Okay. Page also 17 in Italian. Okay.
Okay. Preface by Lama Gangchen Rinpoche. People call me a healing Lama. An important way healing Lamas work is to show you how you can help yourselves. At the heart of this Vajrapani book is my healing gift to you. The NgalSo Vajrapani practices contain the medicine to heal many mind sicknesses. What I have shared with you comes from Buddha Shakyamuni's teachings about how to heal the mind. In the NgalSo lineage, I have represented these teachings in a modern package that is easier to follow and practice. These were originally secret practices that were only available to very few people, but I shared them with you in a very easy and open way so that you can understand yourself the interferences to your own path to enlightenment, and so that you can help yourself to overcome them. Please read about all the different interferences in the extensive guide, and then remember which one to use yourself when you do the practices in your daily life. The Buddha made this spiritual medicine for us. Please use it, and please mix it with your daily life. Maybe we don't understand why we have this or that illness. We don't know what sense they have or how to deal with them. Often, they are interferences or illnesses that are easy to solve. The title of this book, Changa Doje Samson Nigya Menching, means Vajrapani, a single medicine that heals 100 mind sicknesses. Vajrapani medicine is spiritual medicine, Buddha medicine, harmony and joy medicine, wisdom medicine, new bliss and emptiness medicine. A precious medicine that is not just for ourselves, it is for all sentient beings. We can transform anything in our daily life into our spiritual practice. Why? Because everything is connected. Nowadays, even psychiatrists are paying more attention to the effect of the mind on our physical body and sicknesses. Today, it is also accepted that we need to make peace with our environment. Our climate is showing itself nowadays in violent ways, causing great disasters. We need to be positive and change our attitude towards the natural environment because we have caused such a violent reaction in all the elements. It is not the elements themselves. Many people suffer from doubt. For example, how do I act in such a situation? How do I solve such and such a problem? The Vajrapani sadhana lists many illnesses, but it doesn't reach the number of conflicts or doubts that we face in our daily life. If in these moments we simply remember emptiness, Om Swabhava Shuddha Sarva Dharma, Swabhava Shuddha Ham, it will help us. Please, don't think this is a complicated sadhana. You need to see it as a tool. The Tibetans use many implements in their rituals, vajra, bell, and so on. All of them have a rich symbology, but if you don't know them, they can become just a distraction. However, once you are familiar with these tools, they can help our meditation. We need to see all the things we do as a help to our meditation, which in turn helps us to help others. Almeria, Spain, January 17, 2010.
Okay, this is Rinpoche talking, introduction about Vajrapani, yeah? So, this book is about Vajrapani, how to heal your mind. However, I must say, if you really have some mental disturbance, please, you must continue with whatever kind of therapy or treatment you have, yeah? All these, nowadays we try and have an integrative system, We use the best of what's available, so please, if you were like some super yogi, maybe you could just quit everything, but that's not our case, yeah?
Yes.
As it says here, okay? Look, the environment's very disturbed. Also, here in this book, it presents a more holistic view of like mental disturbance. I think that what maybe, I don't know, it's not my thing, like Western psychiatry and stuff like that, yeah, but here it presents very much a vision of, okay, yes, our mind is disturbed, of course, because we did it ourselves, you know, by our karma, our actions, our delusions, because we're ignorant, and then come, you know, samsara, many mental confusion and suffering, okay, of course, yeah. But then on top, the medical tantras they talk about, for example, if we have like wrong diet, wrong emotion, also the environment is super polluted, yeah, then of course this is affecting people's minds, you know, because our energy is damaged, you know, with all this 500,000 pollutants everywhere, of course, also it affects us, and also if the body is unwell, of course, the mind too, you know. So it's like a very holistic vision, okay, of mental health, yeah, okay, yeah. And as it says, you know, like it says that we should use this book as a manual for ourselves. So please, you know, in Buddhism we say that if you want to, you know, who's my friend, who's my enemy, yeah. So other people we leave in peace. We have like kindness, empathy, try and always put them first, etc. If you want to look at somebody and analyze somebody and think who's crazy, you need to get a mirror and look at yourself, yeah? This is the point of this exercise, not to start identifying other members of our community, okay? Just to be clear, yeah? This is a meditation on self-analysis, yeah? Yeah? Something to help ourselves, you know? Yeah, so please, let's not hear, oh, so-and-so's, because we will start like that. So-and-so's like this, so-and-so's like that, yeah? Others we leave in peace, we just examine, what does this mean for me? Actually, Lama Gangchen, as the older disciples know, he used to say, everybody needs to read this 10 times, yeah? Why? Because maybe 9.5 we don't identify ourselves because we're a bit dense, yeah? Maybe by the 10th time we think, oh, actually, maybe, possibly, perhaps, one of those at least is talking about me and, you know, I need to change something, you know, okay? Sorry, can you talk into the microphone, Don? Yeah? Otherwise we can't hear you without a microphone, yeah? Or we can, but our other friends around can't, yeah?
When we were in Brazil, he actually said if you read the book 10 times, then you will heal from many sicknesses.
Well, you'll definitely understand a lot more about how your mind works and, you know, how to live a more healthy life and create positive causes and conditions that can lead to mental health if we give it a chance, that's for sure, you know, okay? Yeah, so anyway, so like yesterday, you know, fortunately we have many recordings of Lama Gangchen Rinpoche, you know, giving teachings and initiation. So actually the last teaching that Rinpoche gave actually here in Albagnano 2020 was this, yeah, Vajrapani, okay? And he was saying at the end, he's saying, this is so beautiful, this is so useful, you know, so important, yeah? So it's like, you know, it's one of the last things that Rinpoche said to us, so I'm sure he'd be very happy. You know, he said, you must listen to this, you must follow this, try, you know, so let's do it, yeah, okay? So here it says this book, okay, Chana Dorji Semso Negya Menchik, the panacea of Vajrapani that heals the mind, yeah? So of course, the basic Buddhist perspective is that we're all crazy, okay, basically, until we, yeah, sorry, but until you develop, we develop definite emergence, bodhicitta, and a correct view of reality, we're all crazy, yeah, okay? Oh, there's different levels of craziness, yeah? So, you know, it's a spectrum, right, yeah? But basically, everybody who doesn't understand correctly how things work is mad, yeah, okay? Like, so that includes us, yeah? So don't think this doesn't apply to me, because definitely it does, yeah, okay? Like I say, unless you happen to have realized directly emptiness, then maybe not. But for the rest of us, this is something we need, yeah, okay? So it says here that, okay, we have many difficulties, yeah? So what Rinpoche used to say, Lama Gangchen, yeah? Here it says we have a problem, no? And it says we should say Om Sobawa Shuddha Sawa Dhamma Sobawa Shuddhoham, yeah? So what Rinpoche used to say many times is may big problem become little difficulty, and then it may decrease, and then it may disappear, no? Om, no problem, so hard, didn't he, yeah?
Yeah.
For years and years he was saying this to people at the beginning, no? When people came to talk to him about their problems, no? Yeah? So it's not saying that we don't have problems, of course we do, but the Buddhist point of view is, okay, we have some difficulty, of course, this is samsara, it's to be expected, but then our mind like over-exaggerates, gets fixated on that difficulty, whatever it is, and obsesses, yeah? And when we make it bigger and bigger, and then we become like emotionally like blocked and fixated, so it becomes like this huge thing, yeah? So what Rinpoche is saying here before we start is a very, very good advice, you know? Okay, of course, sure, there's some difficulty, but on top, our mind is exaggerating, yeah? And then we become like frozen and we can't do anything. We become overwhelmed with whatever is our problem, yeah? So, like, Om Sobawa Shuddha Sawa Dhamma Sobawa Shuddha Ham, like, like we always say in the initiations, may everything dissolves into one point and disappear, and then we change the channel, yeah? So the first thing is we need to give ourselves the possibility to change, yeah? Because while we're like stuck in whatever is our mental difficulty, which is endless, no? Mm-hmm. Then difficult to change, yeah? So first we need to think, actually, you know what? I've got Buddha nature, yeah? Of course, now I have whatever habit and whatever difficulty, whatever trauma, of course, But I can change things, I can choose, I'm responsible for my own experience, right, yeah? Yeah? So therefore, I can choose to put my mind. Rinpoche, Lama Gangchen used to always say, we just need to change the position of our mind, so I can see things in a different way, and change, regain my happiness, my mental health. Why not? It's not, Actually depends on me, I'm not a victim, yeah. Okay, yeah. So, okay, this is before we start. We need to remember that, Okay, yeah. We can choose to be like Rinpoche is always saying, choose peace, yeah. Till now we always chose, because we don't know any better, right? We always choose things we think it's going to make us happy, but they don't, yeah? Then we just get more tired, stressed, anxious, whatever, etc., etc. But we can choose peace, we can choose happiness, we can choose mental health, and that's why I think that's the biggest attraction of Buddhism to people in the West, to be honest, to modern people, Because people, they're not really coming to join another religion or anything like that, because we're already full of different religions, yeah? But what the fame of Buddhism, which is true, is this idea that we can take control of our own mind, our own experience, and then we can put our mind in the better way, So, many, many, many people come, which is a valid reason why you want to come and meditate, because they want to have more energy, less stress, less anxious, and so on, less depressed, whatever, Yeah. So, okay, so anyway, so Nunela, would you like to read the next bit, the psyche according to Tibetan Buddhism, yeah?
Sure.
Actually, this bit is very, very dense, yeah? Okay, there's like about 10 years of teachings in this next bit, but anyway. Just to be complete, we put there, So here is a lot of information, so we probably better pause after each paragraph, yeah? Okay.
Okay, so we start with page 19?
Yeah, please, huh?
Okay, so the psyche according to Tibetan Buddhism, mental and emotional healing in Tantra. For over 1,000 years, the Tibetan Buddhist tradition has underlined the profound importance of mental and emotional health. And this view could contribute greatly to the development of modern society at the beginning of this new millennium. Nowadays, increasing numbers of people are suffering from psychological disturbances and experience a sense of alienation and vulnerability. Perhaps due to the rapid changes of modern society, our family life is now characterized by superficiality and subtle forms of violence. It has become more difficult for people to find the answers to life's fundamental questions. Why am I here? How do I deal with sicknesses, aging, and death? The fear, unhappiness, loneliness, and psychological discomfort that we experience are repeatedly reflected in aspects of our culture, such as in the excessively violent films to which we are so attracted.
Okay, thanks, Nuna. Okay, by the way, I want to thank Sarah Steins, who I'm just looking here. She's our copy editor, beautiful, yeah. Thank you very much for, really making perfect like the text, yeah. Okay, so anyway, so Rinpoche is saying that, look, I mean, this is why we've become Buddhist, isn't it? Yeah, we have this existential anxiety, I mean, honestly, if nobody suffered and nobody died, there'd be no need for meditation or religion or anything like that, right? Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, we come because all of us, we have this existential thing, like it says. Why? Why do people get sick? Why do they get old? Why do they die, you know? Or, okay, maybe this is natural, but I don't feel well about it. What can I do to put my mind in a better place? This is what Buddhism is for, okay? Yeah, okay. That's why Siddhartha left the palace, right? Yeah? He was Siddhartha. Artha means material well-being and success, and Siddha means realization. So Siddhartha means literally the man who has everything, okay? He had beauty, wealth, sports star, clever, everything, okay? Yeah, wonderful life, but still, of course, he had an existential crisis, because that's the nature of the human experience, isn't it? It doesn't matter, you know. Like, he had like 3 palaces and was like #1 sports star and loads of beautiful girlfriends, but because like this is not enough, yeah? Not because he was a dissatisfied person, because every one of us is the same, okay? So it's like, okay, you know, then there's the famous story, you know, when he recognized for the first time that people age, they got sick, they die, then he went back to his father, King Suddhodana, and said, "Oh, father, what can we do about this?" And King Suddhodana said, "How do I know? I'm the king, don't ask me, go and ask a rishi or something, yeah, okay?" So he said, "Oh, okay, can I? Yeah, okay." So then this led to Siddhartha gradually leaving the palace, leaving the princely life, no, to seek enlightenment, yeah? So, so, okay, actually, you know, okay, Rinpoche, we made this in the early 90s, you know? Mm-hmm. And I'm sure, you know, and since then, actually, you know, of course, we always had the same, like, stresses, but actually things are getting worse, actually, you know, with, like, for example, like, with the social media, there's many, many new forms of, like, alienation and making mental discomfort that have developed in the last 30 years, I think, that we didn't have, 30 years ago, no? Okay? Anyway, so, okay, so our anxiety is repeated as reflected in our culture. For example, the violent films that we like watching so much, yeah? Like Lama Gangchen, yeah? He would never watch anything that wasn't either the news, but in order to pray for people who were suffering, or if it was a film, it had to be about Buddhism, yeah? Yeah? He was not interested at all in the sort of stuff that we like to watch, you know, like, I don't know, whatever, you know, yeah? All our films, you know, where many times, you know, we're projecting our subconscious onto the screen, things that we can't deal with, so we project there, you know, like collectively, yeah, okay? Do you want to read the next paragraph, please?
Sure.
Yeah?
Tibetan Buddhist lamas have always acknowledged that our negative emotions, such as desire, hate, fear, have harmful effects on both the conscious and unconscious mind, as well as upon our physical health. Buddhist Lama healers work to bring to light, in a controlled way, the negative projections of our subconscious so that they can be transformed and healed through the use of positive archetypes.
So this, like I say, this goes together with the medicine book, actually. These 2 volumes work together, yeah? So, a very important concept in Tibetan medicine, in Himalayan medicine, whatever it's called these days, yeah, is that the mind is much more involved in our physical experience than we think in the West, you know. So, like in the Tibetan medical model, we have you know, our mind, it has within it unknowing, ignorance, and from there come desire and hatred, yeah. But these 3 energies of desire, hatred, and ignorance, they actually create what's called the 3 doshas, the 3 humours of wind, bile, and phlegm, yeah? Mm-hmm. And the 5 elements, which is the basis of our health or unhealth, yeah? Okay? So it's not like in Tibetan medicine. We have this idea of like psychosomatic illness, yeah? Like, which means a bit like you made it up. We're not talking like this. In the Indian, Tibetan, Vajrapani view is that we have whatever sickness and suffering, but we also need to heal the emotion, the trauma, behind it, yeah? The imprint stored in our mind, yeah? Okay? Because for example, if you break your leg or something, they're a very good way to heal, no? Perfect, you know? But it's like regarding the mind and stuff like that, it's like we don't know the Western approach, we don't acknowledge like all these different levels of the subconscious and the very subtle mind in the same way, you know? I really think this has got something to offer, you know, together obviously with the West. We're not throwing out the Western viewpoint, yeah? But this is something useful to think about as well, you know, yeah? So For example, when we meditate, yeah, okay, we do self-healing, whatever, yeah, and it says throwing out this, throwing out that. What happens when we meditate is that our subconscious, it starts to reveal itself, you know, because, for example, we all know I should not do this, I should not do that, you know, since we're children, yeah, we know that we shouldn't be mean and selfish and violent and all this and drink too much, but so why do we do it, yeah? Yeah. It's like we feel, somehow we have like these habits, we can't help ourselves, isn't it, yeah? Why? Because there's something wrong in our subconscious that's compelling us to do things, because consciously we know very well, for example, if I do that, it will make me feel bad, but we do it anyway, because there's some, Lama Gangchen used to call it like karma bomb, you know, okay? You know, like unfortunately in the world, in the war zones, they have these like mines, terrible, no? If you stand on it, kill you, okay? So Rinpoche, Lama Gangchen, used to explain that our subconscious is like a minefield. So we're like walking along, like going through our life, and then we
Explode.
Yeah, then our life explodes. Yeah, something really goes wrong, and then we feel like, why has this happened to me? Like, you know, this big like, because we don't know, it's not obvious to us, you know, because we have no idea really that all the time that our actions of body, speech, and mind are recorded. And Rinpoche used to call it like the inner space disk, okay? It's a bit like Chittamatra viewpoint, yeah? So our subtle mind is recording everything, yeah? Both positive and negative. So if, like, you know, if you plant a positive seed, yeah, medicine seed, and you give the condition, will grow up a medicine plant, right, yeah? And if you plant a poison seed and it get the right condition, one poison tree will grow up, yeah? So we have mixture of like seeds in our subconscious. So what needs to happen is like the two energies need to, okay, by itself this karma bomb will not go off, but what happens is when there's some condition, yeah, then it kind of like two hands meeting, you know, then they will explode, yeah, okay? And whatever trauma or experience or whatever unpleasant thing happens to us, and we cannot understand why, and usually what we do is blame everybody else, you know, okay, yeah? We don't understand that our own mind is also involved in the creation of our experiences, yeah, okay? So here at the bottom of this, on page 19, it's saying, you know, it says the Lama healers, what they do is teach them, we do these practices like self-healing, all these practices, and what it does is it gradually opens up your subconscious, yeah? So I can't tell you how many times people have come to me and said, oh, I'm meditating on, I don't know, Amoga Siddhi or Vajrapani or whatever, and then I had this dream, I had this emotion, I'm having a lot of fear or anger or jealousy or whatever, or I remember this. Because why? Because it's whatever is in your own mind and it comes out, but it's kind of like in a controlled way, yeah? So this is the difference between just letting your karma bomb explode or diffusing it by meditation, yeah? Which is why we meditate, yeah? So in the healing process, yes, you have to experience some of your emotion, okay, related to whatever happened to you in the past, yeah? But then it kind of like dissipates. It's a very like safe way to diffuse our karma bomb, actually, yeah, okay? Which is what perfect reason why we come here and we meditate, you know, because it's a long healing process of the mind, yeah, okay? You can see, like in our self-healing mandala, there's many steps, yeah? So our mind has got many, many levels that we need to clean, you know? Okay, you can think of it like going up a pyramid, or you can think of going into the center of your own mind, yeah? And so there's many levels, you know, it's kind of amazing, actually, when you meditate, that always things are coming up from the past, and then, you know, they come, and then they go, you know? And also another thing in this view, this Vajrayana view, is like once a trauma is liberated, we don't need to keep on thinking about it anymore, you know? No, because that's, you know, it comes and it goes, and shuddhi soha, like may the big problem become little and disappear. Disappear means I'm not going to spend my time thinking about it, yeah, okay? Because I healed it in my mind, yeah, okay? So yes, we use many, many different ways to heal the mind, okay? Also, we use healing archetypes, like, for example, Vajrapani, like the 5 Supreme Healer Buddhas, and so on, yeah, okay, yeah? So it's a very, very interesting process that we have to discover gradually by practicing, by meditating. This is why we do again and again and again, until you don't need it anymore. Then you don't need to do it, yeah? When your mind is completely clear and healed, then no need, okay, yeah? Okay, so you know, do you want to start to read page 20, please, yeah?
Okay. Mental illness, according to the Buddhist viewpoint, is considered to have a variety of causes, including traumatic experiences, the inability to deal with emotions, inappropriate diet and physical behavior, pollution, and unresolved archetypal complexes.
Okay, so that's like a flash of what's inside this book, yeah? You know, basically, yeah? So there's an explanation of how to... Okay, so we need to know what is our biotype, actually. So if you don't know, you have to get our medicine book, Rainbow of Healing Nectars. Inside there is a chart, which you can photocopy. You have to print it out, yeah, and fill it in. So it says, like, what's your, you know, your diet, your behavior, this, that. And anyway, you can self-discover which is your dosha, you know, like wind, bile, and phlegm, or a combination. Then in this book, it explains, yeah, the healing diet and behavior, depending on our biotype, yeah, because we're not all the same, yeah, okay, yeah. And also, okay, of course, dealing with emotions, this is the great subject of, like, the sutra, isn't it, yeah, okay, like the Lam Rim, okay, yeah. And also it explains about how, you know, we need to, if we take care of the environment, we will feel better. That's why we like to go in nice environments. It's easier to meditate because it's less polluted, yeah, okay? And the elements are more pure. And also, okay, unresolved archetypal complexes. So in this book, yeah, the Vajrapani, Vajrapani, the panacea that heals 100 mental sickness, it explains that, okay, in the West nowadays, they have this way of looking at mental illness, and they label people, yeah, as this, that, and the other. I don't know, like depressed, manic depression, autism, ADHD, etc., etc., etc. Many, many different labels. Okay, so in this book, yeah, it's like this is the ancient version of the same thing, I would say, basically, yeah. Okay, so the names sound more exotic, but they're talking about the same things. Like, so there's a way of talking about, you know, like I say, we should use this to analyze ourselves, actually, not to analyze the others, but to understand depression, to understand, like, manic depression, schizophrenia, whatever. There's many, many different, like, you know, addictions, you know, that's a big one, no? Yeah. So in ancient people, they didn't have, like, these labels, like, I don't know, like schizophrenic or borderline personality like we have nowadays. But of course, the human mind's the same. It doesn't matter where you are, east, west, north, or south. People have these kind of different experience, yeah. So it's like an ancient way, interesting way, actually, of looking at the mind and how to heal it, you know. And here they have a lot of, like, things, a lot of archetypal images to maybe help us to connect with, you know, what's bothering us, you know, okay? Anyway, we'll see as we go through the book, yeah, okay?
The Tantric Buddhist approach is to personify each negative mental state as an archetype, for example, as a zombie or vampire. These archetypal images are considered to be projections of a particular aspect of a person's subconscious rather than external beings possessing them. According to the Himalayan culture, these demons and spirits can threaten the mental health state of human beings. These negative energies share the qualities we identify in Western medicines as mental illnesses. For example, someone who manifests the symptoms of emotional numbness or depression would, according to the Himalayan Buddhist tradition, be identified as being like a zombie, but in Western medicine be diagnosed as suffering from catatonic schizophrenia or depression.
Okay, so this is a very ancient way of seeing things. Actually, it goes back to the Bronze Age of India, or even before, you know, okay? It means like 3,000 or 1,000 years ago, or 5,000 years ago, okay? So here, for example, so if you're, like, really, like, depressed, you know, like, you know, the whole description, yeah, very depressed, kind of, you know, not responding people, you say, okay, you have to say, I feel like a zombie, you know, okay, yeah? We're not talking about, like, on the TV, you know, like all this kind of, like, fantasy stuff. It's a way of understanding. Like I say, this is not something made up by the Tibetans. This goes back to the Indian Vedic culture, yeah? Okay, this idea of looking at people's behavior. So, like I say, what we have to do is you have to get a mirror, yeah, and turn it this way and look at yourself. We're not saying, oh, that one there is like this, yeah? We're looking at, in my life, what's bothering me, okay, yeah? So also, of course, we're not, when it says like demon and all this, it's not talking about external things, okay? We're talking about the disruptive forces of our own mind, yeah, okay? The things that bother us, yeah? Actually, there's one thing I'd like to show you, but I can't because we're putting this on YouTube. So on YouTube, there's like a song, I think it's Korean, yeah, called Demon's Banquet, yeah, okay? So if you look it up afterwards, it's quite good actually, representation of like the Buddhist idea. There's a guy who's like, what he's doing is like, he's binge eating, okay, yeah?
Yes.
He's eating too much in the night, so then it's like it's like the Buddhist idea that his demons are coming out, yeah? It's not something external, yeah? But it's kind of this play of like, yeah, his own mind. Anyway, interesting. But I'd like to project it, but I can't, yeah? Otherwise it will block our Demon's Banquet, yeah? Yeah, look it up, it's nice, yeah? Okay, yeah? So, okay, so this is, okay, so it's like using these archetypes which you may or may not find helpful. If you don't find it's helpful, it's okay. Also, we can just do the mantra of Vajrapani. This will help anyway, yeah? Okay, yeah? But it's one way to see things, which comes from the, Buddhist tradition, the Indian tradition, which let's examine if we find it useful or not, okay? Yeah?
Okay. The NgalSo Tantric self-healing practice of Vajrapani, Hayagriva, Garuda uses ancient non-violent techniques that allows us to effectively treat the psychiatric illnesses that plague modern society. Many ancient myths and legends tells us stories of heroes and heroines who descend into the dark underworld to face and subdue the monsters of their subconscious, and who, by returning to the daylight of their conscious mind, bring peace and harmony to themselves and all society. In the Vajrapani practice, however, it is we who assume the identity of the hero or heroine. The Vajra holder, who has access to the hidden secrets of the conscious and unconscious mind in order to face and pacify our negative archetypes. Through the NgalSo Tantric self-healing practice of Vajrapani, Hayagriva, Garuda, we will become sensitive to and begin to recognize the archetypes that manifest during our dreams or in our daily behavior. In this way, we can learn how to liberate ourselves from the negative archetypal patterns that limit our capacity to live meaningful, happy, and healthy lives.
Okay, so in this kind of practice, yeah? It's like we need to make, basically, we're not trying to like destroy those energies because they're part of ourselves, yeah, okay, okay. What we're trying to do is make friends with that, ask that part of us, why are you unhappy, what do you want, how can we change the situation, how can you become my friend, yeah? Because now, if you have something wrong, like depression or anxiety or fear, or you're dreaming about some dream enemy or something, yeah? It's like this is a message of your own mind. Lama Gangchen always used to say, our subconscious is crying and upset with us because we never give it attention. Then it's reacting, yeah? And it's reacting in the forms of mental discomfort, okay? So what we need to do is for example, make friends, first, let's say we're addicted to something, I don't know, addicted to coffee or alcohol, whatever, cigarettes, whatever, yeah? Then we need to understand, why, Yeah, and until we understand why, we're never going to change. Actually, Anna Maria, would you like to share your voi condividere la tua storia della... Yeah, for example, I'll give you one example here of Anna Maria. She's going to tell us her cigarette story, yeah? Okay. Yeah.
40 years I was smoking from 2 packets.
Hang on, wait, press it.
Yes.
Yeah?
It's about 40 years. I continue smoking from 2 packets up to 3 packets of cigarettes each day.
Wow, a lot.
Yeah, I love a lot. I was smoking so. And some years ago, coming back from Albagnano after Lama Michel teachings about the Bodhisattva Charyavatara, about enthusiastic effort,
That's right.
Sorry for my English.
It's okay.
And Lama Michel was saying, okay, it's more strong the fear that we get to crash, but it's not a wall. Maybe it's just nothing, no, only one moment. Suffering is, the pain is very small, but the suffering you make so big. And so I was coming back back home. I live in Bologna and was driving my car very fast, smoking. I went to the border from Piemonte to Lombardia, and I was already smoked about 15 cigarettes. Wow. And every time, because I tried to stop smoking, every first of the year, for this year I will stop smoking. Before holidays, yes, in summertime I will go to the seaside and will stop smoking. Went to Tibet. Tibet in Kathmandu airport, threw my packet. I will stop smoking now in Tibet, sure. It's nothing. I went to a Chinese hotel and buy all kinds of cigarettes. But okay, this was my habits. And in this situation, I was thinking, again, yes, I will stop smoking now this summer because in 2 days I go to Sardinia, I will stop and this and that. Another part of myself in my mind was saying, okay, every time you say like this, ha, 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 you'll never stop smoking, sure. You will finish your days like your mother smoking a lot of cigarettes. And so a part of me was saying, okay, it's true, I will smoke up to my last day of my life, sure. But I'm curious. I just like to meet this demon, no, of nicotine demon. Sure I smoke, but I want to see this monster, no, coming to me and say, oh, so smoke, take one cigarette, smoke, please, no, silence. Or, now, I want cigarette, take one cigarette and smoke. I say, okay, I do, this is my packet, but I want to see this demon, how it manifests. And I was waiting, no, driving and waiting for this demon, no? I arrived home, no demons. Day after, no demons, but no cigarettes. It was really, I tried to smoke many times. I was feel back in the airplane, no possible to smoke. And I feel so sleepy, bad, depressive. This time, nothing happened. No cigarettes, no demon. Many days, no cigarettes, no demon. And my feeling was like, going in a dark room, maybe I take one, the electric, come si chiama il filo elettrico?
Electric cable.
Electric cable, no? And take off the electricity, and suddenly everything disappeared. So I went to Lama Caroline, and I was thinking, please, Lama Caroline, maybe I'm dead. I don't like, in this film, no? When somebody's dead and don't know.
Like Ghost, Patrick Swayze.
Because it was so strange, nothing. And since that day, I tried to smoke too. I took some from some friends. Mm-hmm. Please, I want to try. Nothing, finish. The demon never came because the demon, I don't know. Maybe it's me because my body was so full of cigarette that can't suffer anymore, can't support anymore. But anyway, demons is something that if you want to look and you I don't know, arrendersi,
if you surrender.
You surrender, yeah, and say, okay, I'm here, you win. It's finished. It's really strange, but it's not only this time. It happens 2 times in my life.
So Anna, you forgot one part of the story, yeah? Then you're in the car, yeah? And you say,
yeah.
You get the box of the cigarettes and you...
Yeah. No. I keep with me.
Oh, okay.
No, not only I never threw out. No, I keep near me.
Oh, like Rinpoche says, in the pocket.
For 2 years coming in Albagnano, because in Albagnano all time smoking, no? In Gompa, no smoke, and then go out and 5, 6 cigarettes, and then come inside. And people continuously ask me cigarettes. Please, you have one cigarette? I say, oh yes, I finish my cigarette. I have many with me because I buy a lot. And all people, about 1 year more, giving cigarettes to people asking to me, you know.
Like practicing generosity.
Yeah, okay. But one thing is I forgot, that Rinpoche, maybe some people, to someone I saw, say, you stop this. Everybody of us asks something or needs something. And Rinpoche have different ways to answer and to take care of you. He never told me stop smoking. Mm. Fortunately, because if Rinpoche told me this, you stop smoking, I don't know, kill me, because I was not possible to stop, and it was not possible to don't follow Rinpoche advice. So it was, and this is my experience about demons.
No, but look, this is a serious subject, yeah? I mean, most people are self-medicating in one way or another because they're uncomfortable with life, no? Yeah, we're in samsara, so either people, I don't know, they go shopping, there's too much food or drink or cigarette or alcohol or drug or whatever. There's many ways to self-medicate, yeah? But who can honestly say that they don't self-medicate in one way or another? So this is a very important point, you know, that we can overcome. I mean, like Anna Maria, 60 cigarettes a day for how many years?
No, in the beginning maybe 1 to packet.
Only 20, 40 to start with then. Yeah.
Only 1 packet.
Yeah, then finally go up to 60 and then, no, but really, it's very, very important, the fact that we can actually deal with our addictions, okay? Yeah. So these kind of practices, doesn't matter it looks strange, these things can really, really change us in a positive way. Actually, speaking of cigarettes, Dawn, come and tell everybody what Rinpoche said to you about cigarettes.
Well, actually, I was very
sorry, come and speak in the microphone, yeah? You can bring all the babies with you if you want, yeah? Next generation, welcome, yeah?
Well, I was actually very lucky because Rinpoche was always very kind to me.
Turn a bit more like that so everybody can see you. And little cute baby. Hello.
Ashley.
Hello, Ashley. Ciao.
Hopefully, the last one. So Rinpoche was always very kind to me about smoking, about my addictions. He was always very kind. And then one day...
Hang on, can we hear you? Wait. Here.
And then one day I was outside the reception smoking, and he came up to me and he said, maybe stop smoking now before some sickness come. So I said, okay, Rinpoche. And then I said to him, is it okay if I use electronic cigarette? And he said, yes, this okay. So I stopped smoking cigarette and I used just electronic cigarette.
Yeah. Yeah, because is this an important point? No, Rinpoche never said don't
Yes.
don't do it because this doesn't work, you know.
No.
You want to say something?
You want to say something?
Yeah, hello.
Ciao.
You want to eat the microphone? So there's a really important message in this book, that we can deal with the things that are really bothering us, okay? Because otherwise we could spend years and years and years, I am a Buddhist, this and that, but still we have this strong mental discomfort that we're manifesting as various forms of mental illness, yeah? Okay, varying degrees, we all have something, no? So this is a very interesting, useful idea, no? Yes? Do you want to carry on, please? Huh?
Sure.
Yeah? Yeah.
For example, I know coffee is not good for me.
Yes. Maybe you need to drink more coffee. Maybe you need to have 20 coffees a day.
Mamma mia.
No, I'm joking, yeah. I don't know, what I don't know, what I saw is that, you know, we like very much to have like all this kind of like rational intellectual explanations about stuff, yeah, but I find that doing the practice, things just happen and our traumas are released, you know, and all this, yeah. And the self-healing process, it's not something you can force, but by doing practice, gradually your mind is opening, yeah, and what is there, the practice is cleaning, it's transforming and so on, so that's also why Lama Gangchen emphasized we should do the practice many, many times until our minds are healed, yeah, yeah. And like Rinpoche always said, yeah, didn't he, famously, self-healing one, every cup of coffee less is self-healing, yeah? Every cigarette less is self-healing, but not just cigarette and coffee, so we think, okay, I don't smoke and I don't drink coffee, so I'm okay. It's not the case, yeah? We all have our own ways of self-medicating that's bad for us, yeah? So it means all negative habit, each one of us, we need to examine our own habit, and what do I need to change, not you, you can do it yourself for you, yeah? And then slowly, slowly, because cutting off it, you get the reaction, no? Yeah? Like Anna Maria was saying, you know, every January I'm going to stop smoking. It doesn't work, yeah, because the habit is much stronger, so we need to gradually reduce the strength of our habits, yeah, okay? Yeah. You know, so, like we have these, no? You know, this kind of curved knife type of ideas, like chop, 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 slowly the habit's going away, yeah? 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 Not many people can go like, I mean, like Anna Maria's and accept, you know, understood and cut off the habit, but most of us are like in the kitchen, you know, like with the chop, 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 and it's gradually decreasing, yeah? But each one has their own process, right, yeah? Yeah? Okay. Sorry?
No, Thomas didn't get the point.
Yeah, sorry?
Thomas didn't get the point, how she could heal, you know.
Yeah, but Thomas, I mean, I remember Anna Maria, she said to me at least, she understood why you were smoking because you were afraid, no? Yeah? You were smoking a lot because you had fear, no?
I don't know, one kind of anxiety or one kind, it's always cigarettes is connected with the heart chakra, one kind of anxiety or fear, yes. But I forgot this. Since long time, I met Lama Gangchen in 1994, and January 1994, and my mind was, okay, I want to stop smoking, but another part of, I'll stop. And it doesn't work like this with me. So if anybody is able to do slowly, like one cigarette less, or you keep in your mind for a long time. In my situation, maybe I'm like this. I cut after a long time, saying, okay, one day I will stop, one day I will stop, and at least it happens suddenly.
Yeah.
Other way you can, I think, normally you slowly change your habits, and so slowly stop. Everybody of us have different characteristics, you know. We have to follow what we have to be with ourselves. Accept. Everybody of us is different, and so we have to know a little better us and to follow the positive energy you have inside, your qualities, no? We have different qualities, we follow each of us his quality. Use yourself in a positive way, okay. Thank you.
What I saw over many, many years with Rinpoche, you know, like what we do all these meditation groups and retreats and all this, you know, is that it's like each one of us, we have some trauma basically in our mind, yeah? And as a result, we're self-medicating. And whatever is the trauma, I mean, it's infinite, no? We're in samsara. For sure, many things is always wrong. It's the nature of samsara, yeah? But it's like, I don't know what I observe is that when you can understand and let it go, then you can stop smoking, drinking, drugging yourself, overeating, whatever, you know? Okay? While the emotional thing is there, we can't, you know? You know? It's what I saw with people, you know? Yeah. You know? Anyway, as you do the practice over the years of self-healing, I think you will see this, you know, that gradually your emotions come out, you're liberated, you know? And then just that particular trauma disappears, you know? Because like I say, like, you know, like people, they always say, okay, people have, like, for example, our whole life we're putting imprints into our subtle mind, right, yeah? So even in this life, many, many things happen to us, like when we're a kid, when we're a teenager, this and that, yeah? That influence now how we experience reality, yeah? We have various kinds of suffering and trauma, also positive minds, yeah? But you know, like, okay, everybody reincarnates, yeah, okay, yeah? And people, but I believe more the people who say that this, say, okay, I had this life and I had some problem actually, you know, like I had an ordinary, it's much more likely than everybody being like an Egyptian priestess or something, you know. Yes, it's how many Egyptian priestesses were there in Karnak? Surely not that many that I know half of them, you know, okay, yeah. So it's like when you die, yeah, the gross mind absorbs, yeah, okay. But your kind of deep habits and imprints continue, okay, yeah. So it seems to me, from you know, that it's like our unresolved traumas that we need to heal, you know, to progress spiritually, you know, whether it's from the past life, and many people do have this, or you know, happened to me, whatever, you know, in the other life, and now I'm working on it, yeah, or within our own life. Our own life is full of different losses and disappointments and suffering, no? So all those things we need to heal, okay, yeah. Yeah, and so it's like we're healing under the surface, yeah, okay, yeah, by meditating, and occasionally something breaks out, like with you know, like Jung and the dreams, yeah, okay, yeah. So many times, like as Lama Gangchen said, your subconscious will try and tell you what's wrong, but whether we recognize or not, I don't know. So I think when we do this Vajrapani practice, we become more like open to listening to our subconscious, you know, and seeing, and then our mind is very happy to tell us what needs healing, no? Okay. Nuna, would you like to read the next piece, please? Okay.
The levels of the mind. The Tibetan medical tradition has extensively researched the relationship that exists between the body and the mind, and Tibetan Buddhist lamas have dedicated themselves to the study of the mind's functions. They have understood the profound relationships that exist between mental and physical health, and concluded that the nature of the mind is clear and tangible and has the ability to be aware.
Okay, this is the definition in Lorig in the like Buddhist psychology, no? Mind and awareness. So it's one kind of important teaching within the Tibetan monasteries, yeah? So what is mind, yeah? Okay, still in the West, many discussion, right, yeah? So the definition in Tibetan is the mind is clear, without form, yeah, okay? And able to cognize, to be aware, yeah. So, yeah. So they don't talk about like we do, like biochemistry or the brain or this. Although of course we acknowledge that has an important influence, like our hormones, you know, our nervous system, our brain, and all this. Of course, it affects our mind. But there's also a view of the mind which is beyond that, you know. Okay.
The Tibetan medical sciences that we know today is based upon knowledge derived from Chinese, Greek, and Persian medical systems, not to mention the Indian Ayurvedic and Buddhist Tantric yoga traditions that arrived in Tibet in the 8th century CE.
CE means Christian era, yeah, okay.
It conceives,
Because the Buddhist calendar is like very different. Now we're on the year like 2600, yeah? So this is, CE means Christian calendar, yeah? Okay. The one that we use, no?
So, it conceives both the body and the mind as existing on gross, subtle, and very subtle levels. The gross levels are those we constantly perceive through our senses, as well as through our daily emotions and mental activities. The subtle and very subtle levels are often ignored. Therefore, they require in-depth study and mental training for us to be able to recognize and use them positively. According to the Tantric Buddhism, the esoteric practices taught by Buddha, the gross mind functions during our normal waking state of consciousness, whereas the subtle mind is particularly present during our dreams. The very subtle mind manifests during deep sleep, when we sneeze, at the moment of orgasm, and at the time of death.
Okay, So Tibet was not a closed country as is the Western fantasy, you know. Okay, so you know they had, you know, it's like part of Asia, and people were very much traveling by caravan through Tibet, you know, to other parts of Asia. So when Buddhism went to Tibet in the 8th century, there was a very famous king called King Songtsen Gampo, yeah, who's, I think, considered to be an emanation of Buddha Amitabha, I think, and he was the one that invited Padmasambhava, no, to Tibet, yeah, and he also invite people, like he invite doctors as well, yeah. It was kind of like an enlightened moment in Tibetan history, you know, like the Axis age here in Europe, you know, 2,500 years ago, yeah. So anyway, so King Songtsen Gampo, he invite Padmasambhava, yeah, to spread Buddhism. He got Tomi Sambhota, who was his minister, to go to India and learn Kashmiri and make Tibetan writing, yeah, so they could record the Buddha's teachings. And he invited many, many doctors, yeah, to Tibet, you know. It's like a real, like, Renaissance moment, yeah, into the 8th century, yeah, okay. So, like we were saying, Tibetan medicine comes from, like, yes, it's from Chinese, Greek, Indian, Persian sources, yeah, okay, plus Buddhism, yeah. It's like sort of like the greatest hits of medicine in that time, yeah. So you know, we have like a fantasy image of Tibet, which is completely not true, you know, okay, of course, yeah, like many fantasies, and we made it up, no, yeah. But now, actually, we know how it actually was, yeah, okay. So they have this very interesting way of seeing the mind, the gross mind, yeah, like they talk about the low-rig teachings, the mind and its factors, okay, yeah. Lama Michel's giving plenty of teachings on that here in Albagnano, yeah. So it's talking about the gross mind, how we perceive reality, and the positive and negative side of our normal mind, you know, like our emotions, there's negative part, positive part, and so on, yeah, okay. But from the Tantric point of view, we then have the subtle and very subtle mind. The subtle mind is basically what we would call the subconscious in the West, yeah, okay, yeah. So it's the much, Rinpoche or Lama Gangchen used to say that's much bigger and more powerful than the conscious mind, yeah? Which is why it's not easy to give up smoking, drinking and all that, because under the surface is much more energy than what's appearing on the surface, yeah, okay? And then this very subtle mind, okay, so it's not appearing so much if it's the one instant of deep sleep, sneezing, orgasm or death, yeah? It's not appearing too often, okay, it's appearing a little bit, but we don't recognize, yeah? So mainly we're working with the subtle mind, the subconscious, and the gross mind in this practice, yeah? And then we hope slowly to recognize and develop the process to get to the clear light, the most fundamental. But that's later, okay? Now we're trying to become a healthy, more balanced person, yeah? Okay?
Our normal waking consciousness can be described as the waves of the ocean. What we need to recognize is that beneath the surface are the great ocean depths that are also worth investigating. Even though we might be afraid of the vast ocean and its power, if we find the courage to look beneath, we will be surprised and amazed by the beauty we find. Our mind does not just switch off when we go to sleep, but enters into a very subtle and profound state of consciousness. During dreams, it enters a subtler state, and upon waking, it moves. Upon waking, it moves back into the gross level of consciousness. We continuously pass through this cycle, manifesting the 3 levels of consciousness. The study of the gross mind is an important subject in Buddhist monasteries. Mahayana Buddhism contains a particular set of teachings called Loriga, or the mind and its aspects. It is a text that deals with the functioning of the gross level of consciousness and emotions. It is a useful guide that allows us to clearly identify not only our positive thoughts, but also those that are harmful to us. The spiritual medicine we call Dharma is, in fact, our ability to protect ourselves from suffering by making the right choices in all situations.
Okay, thanks, Nuna. Yeah, okay. So, okay, so it says here our subconscious is like a great ocean. So I don't know. Recently, I was watching actually some documentaries about the ocean. You know, so it's a bit like our planet. No, I think it's over 70% sea. No, actually, yeah.
Still.
Yeah, okay, so it's a bit like this. We're like billions of us crowded onto the Earth, but there's this huge, great ocean, and now they're starting to go down with like submarines and stuff and finding all kinds of incredible things. So this is a little bit similar to the idea of meditation. We need to enter into the ocean of our consciousness, yeah, okay? And yes, there's many different things down there, but yes, very interesting. And then gradually we can become a more balanced person as a result, yeah, okay, yeah. So, yeah, so in the Tantric teachings we talk, Tantra means like continuum, so we have the gross, subtle and very subtle mind, and every day we cycle through those states of consciousness, like when we go to sleep, the moment we enter into deep sleep is the most subtle mind, yeah? Then the dreaming comes, this is like the subtle mind, yeah? And then we wake up, the gross mind, and without choice, again and again, we go through many cycles all our lives. So Tantra is understanding like these natural cycles of the body and mind and how to use in a positive way, yeah? Okay, very interesting, no? So then it says, okay, in the Tibetan, like Gelugpa monasteries, our tradition, they have this teaching called Mind and Its Functions, yeah, okay? So, actually, if you're interested in Lorig, like I say on our NgalSo channel, ngalso.org, there's Lama Michel's giving a lot of teaching about this in Portuguese, Italian, and so on, yeah? Mm-hmm. Very interesting subject, you know? So it looks at the mind in a different way, actually quite clear way, actually, I would say, yeah? But different from the way we think in the West, you know? So, I'll give you an example, yeah? Okay. So it talks about how we perceive reality, okay? Like how the mind perceives things through the senses and our brain is assembling that image, you know, into mental images, yeah? Which we then think are nothing to do with us, yeah? Okay. Basically, and then we get confused, yeah? So we have like, in ancient India, they like lists, Tibetan like lists. So we have what we call the 6 root delusions, yeah, okay, of which the most important one is ignorance, yeah, okay, unknowing of the nature of reality. And then from that come desire, hatred, pride, you know, and other kind of root delusions, yeah, okay. So it's, how to say, like for example, desire, yeah, okay. So the Lorig gives very, very clear definitions of all mental states. So it's something actually useful to study and to kind of remember. Like, for example, desire in Buddhism is very clear. We see an attractive object, whatever it is, yeah. It can be anything that attracts us, yeah. Then our mind over-exaggerates its good qualities, yeah. You know, like it becomes like what you call it, the blueprints, the Principia Azzurro, the one, you know. We blow it out of proportion in our fantasy. And then our mind gets obsessed with it. It gets stuck on it, yeah, okay. Which is like what we call, like when we're teenagers, falling in love, isn't it? Exactly that process, yeah. Oh, maybe he or she is going to look at me, then no, not looking at me, then ooh, you know, and waiting all day for the telephone call, you know, this is like, Lorig is very, very clear understanding of what our emotions are from the Buddhist point of view, okay, yeah? Or hatred, you know. Hatred is we find whatever unpleasant, I don't know, maybe chickpeas, maybe the weather, whatever, I don't know, yeah? Then our mind over-exaggerates its bad qualities, like chickpeas are terrible, I hate chickpeas, if I have another chickpea, I will have an allergic reaction, you know, yeah, or whatever, mind over-exaggerates it, yeah, and then gets fixated on it, like I hate chickpeas and I need to make a t-shirt and so on, yeah, okay, yeah, yeah. So our mind is like extreme, it's unbalanced, yeah. Either we're like, oh, you know, or like, yeah. So in Buddhism, when we meditate, the idea is to have a healthy, happy, stable mind, and that would already for us would be a great realization, okay? Yeah. Yeah, then okay, Lama Gangchen used to say, okay, getting enlightened is coming afterwards. First, what we need to do is create well-being, health, and happiness, okay? That's the first step, yeah, to become a normal, healthy person, yeah, okay? Mm-hmm. And the rest, the different steps to enlightenment are later, okay? But it's all on the path of self-healing, so it's okay, yeah? Okay, so then here, there's a big list, actually, of all the, this is like Lorig squeezed into one page, which is a huge summary, so maybe better if you're interested, you go on our website and you start to listen to Lama Michel talking about it.
Lorig.
Yeah? Because, you know, anyway, so it's a list of all the different factors of the mind, yeah, okay? So 5 types of mind that we have all the time, then how do we perceive objects, then some parts of the mind are positive, okay, yeah? Yeah, some are deluded, yeah, and then some parts of the mind are neutral. So why we need to identify that is because gradually the negative habits we need to reduce, yeah? We need to recognize, for example, being super jealous or angry is not good for me, yeah? And then I need to gradually reduce my jealousy, my hatred, my pride, whatever, yeah, okay? And then the positive sides of our mind, like, I don't know, like love, empathy, you know, the positive wisdom, I need to gradually increase, yeah? So it's useful to have this idea of what's in there, you know? Yeah? So we can, because when we meditate, you know, like when we start to watch our mind, okay, there are many types of meditation, but you need to recognize what's going on, because normally we're unaware of, okay, like there's desire, hatred, all this stuff's going on in our mind, but somehow it's like we're pulled along by it because we don't recognize what's happening, yeah? So we just get angry, we get we get offended, you know, we fall in love, you know, whatever. There's all this stuff going on in our mind. And Rinpoche, Lama Gangchen, he used to explain like this. He used to say, of course, everybody wants to be free, naturally, yeah? And all the time, we in the West, we everywhere nowadays go around saying, I want to be free, I want to be free. But he said, really, are we free? He said, really, we're like, you know, like cows with the ring on the nose, yeah? Okay? So we say, I'm free, but in fact, all the time, we're pulled around by our desire, our hatred, our jealousy, our pride, whatever, yeah? Okay? What we need to do is take off that ring. Then, you know, like Amitabha, yeah? Who's my friend, who's my enemy? That means this one, yeah? Not you, not that one, yeah? Inside of me, what's my friend, what's my enemy, yeah? Then the positive side of my mind, my positive habit I need to develop. This is my friend, and my things that make me stressed, anxious, you know, compulsive behavior, etc. This I need to, it's not my friend, but I think it is my friend, so I'm confused, right, yeah? You know? Like Anna Maria, no? Obviously thought cigarette was her friend because it was very, like Rinpoche used to say. Rinpoche, Lama Gangchen used to say, we have all these houses, you know, with like steel door and camera and this and that, you know, and we go in there and we close and we think we're so safe. But this is the classic example that in our pocket there's the box of cigarettes, yeah? So we take our enemy inside and then we put on the bedside table and we keep very close, and if it's not cigarette, it's within our own mind, right, yeah? So our enemy actually we take because it's inside of us, we take with us. So that's what we need to recognize, you know. So anyway, low rig's very interesting, yeah, okay? To have more self-awareness about what's going on with your mind, yeah, okay? But the thing is, even if we're aware, at least the view of our tradition is, okay, we have what's called Sutra and Tantra together. So one is, okay, I need to understand how's my mind. And when we talk about our mind, obviously these days we have like neuroscience and all this, which is really interesting, yeah? One thing that Lama Gangchen wanted to do, actually, in the 2018-19, I was preparing with him, was to make congresses on, like, Buddhism and the mind, yeah? Okay, here in Albagnano, yeah? So he said this is important, you know, this dialogue between, you know, the mind, the science, the, you know, psychiatrists, biochemistry, this, that, you know, all these interesting things nowadays, yeah? Because actually, Buddhism has really a lot to offer on that subject, yeah? Okay? For example, I'm sure I've told you this a lot of times, but like, for example, next to our Dharma Center in São Paulo, yeah, there's a laboratory called Walk Again, yeah, okay, in Villa Madalena, yeah, where they have this international project which spans like many, many countries, which is developing robotic suits for disabled people, yeah. So one of the reasons why they chose Brazil is the head of the project's Brazilian, and unfortunately there's a lot of people who get shot, yeah, whose spines were damaged by bullets, yeah, young people. So they have this laboratory, yeah, where they're developing this like exoskeleton. So where disabled people. What's amazing is, you know, like Elon Musk, they put something in your brain, okay, yeah. With the Walk Again, no, you have something like a band, like round your head, yeah, okay, yeah, something like this that goes around your head. You just put on, yeah, and then they have to train playing like a video game of walking and just thinking, yeah. This is picking up the electrical impulse on your skin, and it makes the robo-suit work. Yeah? Amazing, no? Incredible, no? Yeah. So the head of the project, actually, for example, is very much interested in Buddhism. You know, obviously, it's fascinating. No? How does the mind actually work? You know, so it's important this, you know, dialogue between like Buddhism and neuroscience, okay, and all these interesting new developments. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so that's one thing that Rinpoche wanted to do, so maybe slowly we can continue with that, yeah? I mean, in the past we had various people come here, didn't we? Do you remember? What's he called? We used to call him Monty Cuckoo. How do you call him, yeah? Niccolo from Bani de Luca, yeah?
Montecucco.
No, probably I'm mispronouncing his name, yeah. We had one guy who was a scientist and who was like, putting all these electrodes on Rinpoche head and stuff like this, yeah. Nikamo, Nisamo, Monte? Yeah, Montecucco, yeah, okay. So, okay, in the past we had various people coming here, but like in Buddhism, we are not threatened by science, okay, yeah. Yeah, actually our worldview is very much coherent actually with the view of modern science, but obviously we think that all technology should be used in a positive way, and we don't obviously think that using technology for negative purposes is good, but we're not, as Buddhists, of course we believe that, everything's interdependent, everything's a process, yeah, so we're not afraid of science, yeah, but let's use positively, yeah, okay. So anyway, so Lorig, if you're interested, please, on our website we have a lot of teachings, yeah, so if you're interested, please follow that, it's very, very interesting and useful actually, So that's that, talking about that on page 22. Like these first few pages is like really, really condensed to give a kind of overview of the Buddhist idea of the mind, but it's only a few pages, yeah? So it's like Lama Gangchen said, opening many doors, yeah? Opening many auspicious doors. Then if you want to go through and understand, there's many, many more interesting teachings behind, yeah? Okay? Do you want to start to read page 23, Anuna?
From where?
The neutral part of our mind, yeah?
Okay.
Okay, this is we can start the subtle mind, yeah? Okay.
What is this? Okay.
Yeah.
Because all this is actually referred to page 22. Okay.
Yeah,
no
okay.
problem.
There's a big list of like all the things of Lorig. Actually, the last line it says the neutral part of our mind is characterized by 4 changeable mental factors: sleep, regret, investigation, and analysis. Yeah. So when we practice the Dharma, we try to make everything positive, including like sleep. Yeah. Because okay, we sleep, 4 hours, 6 hours, 10 hours, whatever. Yeah, without choice. Yeah. Okay. So if we try and make our sleep positive, yeah, that means before you go to sleep, yeah, you try and have a positive mind. Then as your subconscious manifests, it goes in the positive direction, yeah. So why they talk about the neutral part of our mind is it can go either way, but it depends on our motivation, actually. So then after comes the explanation of the subtle mind, Nuna, yeah?
Okay. The subtle mind or subconscious is examined in great detail in highest Yoga Tantra. It has 80 different aspects divided into categories of masculine, feminine, and neutral. The masculine part of our subconscious has 33 aspects, of which 25 are negative and 8 positive.
Okay, then there's a big list of all those, yeah? Okay, yeah.
The 25 negative aspects are small attachment, middle attachment, and big attachment to the pleasures of this life, distraction to attractive outer and inner objects, small grief, middle grief, and big grief on losing the pleasures of this life. Busy mind, unable to stop thinking and worrying, small fear, middle fear, and huge fear of death, annihilation, and the unknown. Small craving, middle craving, and huge craving that our life does not cease, grasping the receding pleasures of this life, doubt that our positive actions and self-healing practice are a waste of time and useless, hunger, thirst, small, middle, and big physical and mental pain, desire, mental shaking and nervousness, miserliness and jealousy.
Okay, so this list, okay. This is particularly talking about, okay, when we do meditation, yeah, we try and recognize what happens when we go to sleep or when we die, yeah, okay, when we do the highest Yoga Tantra meditations, we have different kind of wisdom key to open our subconscious, yeah, like a hung, like many, many, many techniques, okay, to wake up the process of the elements absorbing, and then the subtle mind appearing, yeah? The subtle mind, okay, as it says here, has like a male part, a female part, and a neutral part, yeah? Why? Because we inherit the energy from our parents, yeah, okay? So like, for example, here it says, for example, we desire, this is particularly talking actually about the moment of death, okay, yeah? Mm-hmm. So attraction, grief, yeah? worry, fear, yeah, craving, yeah. So these particular ones they pick out because it's explaining how again and again we create our personal samsara, yeah. So if we don't deal with our subconscious in the West, yeah, people think either, you know, have different ideas. Maybe I die and go to heaven or whatever, or maybe most people they think I die and that's it, finish, okay, like this fear, you know, okay. Okay, in Buddhism, we have the view that people, their mind stream returns again and again, yeah, okay? Obviously, part of the person continues, not the whole part, you know? So here, it's talking about like the last minds, yeah? For example, if we have like strong attachment or craving and fear, yeah? Then this conditions the mind to take again another samsaric rebirth, yeah? So again and again, that's what samsara means. We turn again and again till we can actually understand what's happening, you know, okay? So, okay, there's a big list of like, but this also happens during meditation, yeah? When we do meditation, yeah? That part of our subconscious comes up, yeah? And of course, each one we have a different experience, yeah? We put different things into our mind, so it doesn't mean that all this will come up for you. It depends on what, you know, your life, your feeling, what you did, yeah? But some part of the male aspect of the mind will come up, whether you're man or woman, doesn't matter, yeah? Because all of us have some reflection of that side of the mind, yeah? Okay, so there's the negative side, yeah? But, okay, this we want to reduce, yeah? What we want is to develop the 8 positive aspects of the male part of our subconscious, which are Nune, yeah?
Mm-hmm. The 8 positive aspects are inner peace, happy mental and physical feeling, conceptual cognizer or developing mental certainty about something due to a sign. For example, we seek smoke and know there is a fire. Recognition or regaining certainty about something, discrimination, or clearly distinguishing between what is our friend and what is our enemy, shame, compassion, mercy, or the wish to protect others from danger.
Okay, so what we want is that positive side of the male part of our mind to manifest. So when we do, for example, I don't know, like self-healing, making peace with the environment, all these kind of practices, yeah? Then whatever is in our subconscious gradually will manifest, and then we need to clean it, you know, okay, yeah? All the negative side, so it gives space for, Rinpoche used to call it like the inner Buddha garden, right, yeah, okay? We have many positive seeds, medicine seeds, but we need to do like weeding, yeah? So there's space for the positive seeds in our mind to develop, yeah, okay, yeah? Like peace, you know, and so on, and certainty, you know, yeah, having confidence in your Buddha nature and your ability to grow and so on, you know, okay, yeah. Yeah, or, I mean, it sounds like easy, no, but what, honestly, for me, what is my friend, what is my enemy, yeah? And most people, the whole lives, they don't get to that point, you know? Why? Because you can see people as they get older just like continue with like some harmful habits actually, mostly, yeah? So to recognize, have the self-awareness, you know, that this really is not good for me is great, and then that I need less, and well, this is good for me, I should do more. It's actually an inner wisdom, yeah, okay? You know, so okay, the spiritual path is long, but every time we're going forward, each step we will feel better, you know, more balanced and so on, yeah, okay? You know, so everybody has their own process, you know, okay? Yeah? Okay, so that's a summary of the negative and positive parts of the male part of our subconscious. Then we have the summary of the negative and positive aspects of the female parts of our subconscious, yeah? And then there's a summary of the neutral part of our subconscious, yeah? So in Indian thought, in Tibetan medical thought, Tantra, we have like 3 energies, not 2, okay, yeah? We don't just have yin-yang, we have yin-yang neutral, 3 energies, yeah? Like day, night, and dusk, yeah? Male, female, and neutral, yeah? Okay, we always have like 3 of everything, yeah? Okay, so by the way, we have 3 sexes in Buddhism. It's since ancient India, you know, yeah? It's like a spectrum, right, yeah? And so when the 2 energies meet, the male and female is the neutral energy, okay, yeah? So, okay, so here it's characterized by, okay, this is when the 2 energies meet of our subconscious, it says this is just neutral, yeah, okay? it says equal, okay, this is the second paragraph, yeah? Okay. The neutral part of our subconscious, yeah?
Do you want me to read that?
Yeah, please. Huh?
The neutral part of our subconscious has 7 aspects. They are equal hatred and desire, memory loss, hallucination, depression, laziness, doubt, and inability to communicate.
Sounds a bit like being depressed, no?
Sì, difatti.
Yeah. Okay, so we need to. One thing we need to understand is like we all got like the basic model of a human mind, yeah. Okay, it's like like getting a laptop or something. We all got the same model, yeah. Okay, basically, yeah. But okay, what we put in, it's like when you have a laptop. Everybody has a different content in their computer, isn't it? Personal computer, right? Yeah. But how it works, we all have like the same operating system, yeah. Okay. So everybody's mind. We have three doshas, 3 humours, we have 5 elements, yeah? The mind shuts down as we go to sleep in the same way, and it boots up, it wakes up in the same way. So one thing is understanding like how the natural process of how the body and mind works and learning to then, okay, use a little bit, then we can see more clearly our subconscious and what's bothering me, you know? It's like going beneath the hood of the mind, you know? Then we can fix what's there, so then our conscious mind, it becomes like more easy, you know. And this is completely true, you know. I mean, I'm sure I told you this before, but like me, like Anna Maria was having one. I told her, she shared her experience, and like this, we have hundreds, yeah. Like, so me when I was young, yeah. When I was at school, no, I was like, I was the kid who, like, I know everything, yeah. So all the other kids, didn't like me, okay. So then some kids, they beat me up in the in the playground, yeah. And one of them scratched my face like this, yeah. Okay, so obviously I was upset, so I took up karate, yeah, martial arts, yeah. And then nobody ever hit me again because they knew I could hit them back harder, yeah. Okay, but okay, then forget about it, okay. And then I become Buddhist and everything. One time I was going around with Lama Rinpoche, and it was the phase when he was talking about peace with everything, everything with peace for like 1.5 years. And we were somewhere, I don't know, Italy, Greece, somewhere, I don't know, somewhere. And I wake up one morning and everybody says, "Oh, look at your face." And I was like, "What?" Well, I don't know. I look in the face and I had like these, like it's like a cat scratched me down the face, yeah. And I said, "Oh, yeah, this actually was when I was like, I don't know, like 9 or something, yeah." So it's like we think everything is healed, your body heals, but it's like your emotions, something's imprinted in your mind. So like I'd completely forgotten about this for like, I don't know, like 25 years or something like that, And then I wake up and I have like this wound physically manifesting on my face from when I was like 9, yeah, okay, yeah. So it's kind of like, because, all the time like meditation, peace with everything, everything with peace, it touched that part of my subconscious and healed it, yeah. So then very surprisingly, no, okay, what I thought was healed like many, many decades before, that wound came out again like physically on my face, yeah, okay, yeah. And it's not just me, we're all the same, yeah? So we have many things, we kind of think it's healed, but it's not really healed, yeah? So it's still there within our subconscious, yeah? So we need to go inside and our subconscious, and whatever is there, like no judgment, because everything can happen, right, yeah? We need to touch, we need to heal, we need to release that emotion, and then we can start to heal ourselves on many different levels, yeah? Okay? Yeah? Okay, so like I say, this bit is like a super intense summary of like many other teachings, but just to give an overview, okay? Yeah? Then it says the very subtle mind, yeah? Okay.
The very subtle mind is called clear light, and is the part of us that survives from life to life. It is connected to very subtle body, and it's supported by the 5 elements in their pure energy form. It also carries the continuum of our karmic imprints that determine our habitual tendencies and life experiences. Everything we do in our life to find happiness and satisfaction is actually an attempt to recover this pure nature. However, we always project our happiness on outer material objects, and it is for this reason that we are always dissatisfied with our life.
Yeah. True, no? Yeah, okay. So we always think, if only I had that, I would be happy, whatever is that, a person, a thing, an experience. And we spend all our life trying to run after the end of a rainbow that we can't reach, yeah? Because our minds made this hallucination, yeah? That if only I had that, I would be happy. So that's a very important wisdom that we need to develop, yeah, that our mind is responsible for our own dissatisfaction, yeah, okay? Yeah? So here it says, you know, like, okay, then we have like this very subtle mind, yeah, we have this, okay, the next part of the text is talking more about this. We have this subtle energy system. In our heart chakra, we have the, Tibetan it's called the Sogzin Lung, the life-sustaining prana, yeah? So we have 5 pranas, yeah, which are related to the elements, yeah, like 5 great element mothers. And each element is together with a series of emotions, yeah? But the life-sustaining prana, the very subtle one in your heart chakra, yeah? There is kind of like from okay, there's different explanations, but according to the mind-only school, we have like a storage unit there, like a hard disk or something, or not hard, a soft disk, a mind disk, yeah, where our subtle imprints are recorded. So this goes on, and some part of the personality continues from life to life. However, when you die, you know, it's like many of the things that you forget, you know. It's like a computer, you know. If your computer goes funny, you know, you lose the part of the memory, no? Okay, yeah. So it's a bit like us. So unfortunately, many of the beautiful things that we do, we won't remember, yeah? I don't know. It seems to me that we remember a lot of the unresolved things, you know, because they're still bothering us, you know, okay? You know, so for example, how many nice ice creams we had in Verbania and how many sunsets we saw and all this. Maybe we were, okay, of course it's nice, but not sure we'll remember. But, you know, you did this to me, blah, 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 blah. And now you've come back and I still have something with you, but I can't understand why. The unresolved stuff, we still carry that with us, you know, I think, you know. Yeah, yeah. Yeah? Okay, I'm not talking about like super evolved holy beings, yeah? They have different mind from life to life. I'm talking about the normal, yeah? Yeah, how we carry on from life to life, yeah? So we carry all this kind of like trauma, you know, yeah? So we gradually have to heal all that, you know, okay? Anyway, so very, very deep subject. Anyway, next section, okay, is talking a little bit about the idea of the subtle body from the point of view of Tantra and Tibetan medicine, okay, yeah? So, like, for example, we have, like, this thing of, like, the subtle energy body, the chakras, the channels, the pranas, yeah? So this goes back to before Buddhism, you know, okay? Like in the Upanishads, they talk about these 5 pranas, you know, yeah, yeah? So Buddhism didn't appear out of nothing, you know, okay? The Siddhartha, no, he was a prince in the Vedic society of, yeah, okay? Actually in Nepal, no? He was born in Nepal, now it's India, no? Okay, yeah? So then the Buddha sort of, okay, he took an enlightened view of what was around him in his society and used it, you know, the best of what was the information available at that time, you know, okay, yeah. So do you want to read a little bit, the next one?
Okay.
Lisa?
The levels of the body. According to Tantra, it's impossible to study the mind without also studying the gross and subtle levels of the body. As we are already aware, the gross body is composed of flesh, blood, bones, marrow, skin, organs, male and female energy, and so on. The subtle energy body comprises auric energy, channels, and the chakras, as well as the 5 elemental energies of male and female energy drops. The masculine and feminine energies, as well as those of the 5 elements, circulate continuously through the subtle body in a way that corresponds to the flow of energy through the cosmos, seen in the lunar and solar cycles, the seasons, and so on. This movement of energy reflects very clearly the profound relationships that exists between the microcosm and macrocosm.
Okay, so this paragraph here, there's a lot of information. So actually, if you want to understand all this, you need to get the Rainbow of Healing Nectar's book of medicine, and also our Kala Chakra Sadhana, yeah, the big one, yeah, yeah. No, because this is opening many doors, yeah,
Yeah,
okay, yeah,
sure.
okay. Like, I mean, what Lama Gangchen want to say is not possible to put in one book. So actually, our books, they all kind of fit together as like a system, okay, yeah. So if you don't have the Medicine Buddha book, please get it. If you don't have the Kala Chakra, okay, you can start to read. It's very profound, okay. Then slowly, slowly, if you like, we can continue with the Kala Chakra practice, like we did many, many times here with Lama Gangchen, no? Kala Chakra is a big part of Tibetan medicine, very interesting, this thing of like, well, very profound, no? Just as it is in the outer world, so too it is in the inner world, and explaining very well about the inner energies and stuff, yeah? Like I say, here in this first part, it's like a super summary, an overview, yeah? Okay? But then, like I say, each one, we need to give a long teaching, actually, on each one of these, okay? But please, Nunela, can you read the paragraph at the page 25, the first one, yeah?
Okay. Even though the components of this subtle energy body cannot be seen by the naked eye, photographer, or found when looking through the most powerful microscope, they are well documented in Oriental medical traditions such as acupuncture and shiatsu, Thai massage, and hatha yoga. Certain points in the subtle energy body are stimulated during such therapies to aid physical and psychological healing. Other than these principal energy points and channels, there also exists a network or even subtler channels that are described in Tantric yoga systems. These are used for both gross and subtle healing, as well as to transform our physical and mental energy into its pure crystal form. The completion of this process of transformation through the positive use of our channels, winds, and drops is known as enlightenment, or the realization of our maximum human potential.
Okay, so, Lama Gangchen used to say that, okay, nowadays, we have already, since 100 years or something like that, many Asian therapies have come to Europe, to the West, no? Ok, ragazzi, grazie. Forse non puoi dare le dolci o qualcosa alle bambine. Credo ci sono le dolci nel ristorante per voi.
We need to bring toys. Actually.
Yeah, and toys, giocattoli, anche giocattoli.
Sì.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, so Lama, since 50 years, 100 years, actually come many beautiful things from Asia, like acupuncture, shiatsu, Thai massage, hatha yoga, Buddhism, all these kind of interesting systems, qigong, karate, kung fu, all these kind of systems, actually, So Lama Gangchen used to say that, first we have a little bit weird idea of all these things, because, the first pioneers went there, which we appreciate, like, used to say, isn't it, like Alexander David Neal and Lama Govinda and all these people, and Ushui for Reiki, etc., etc., etc. And it's some kind of idea we get, not exactly correct totally, but yeah. But he said anyway, now all this is part of the Shambhala energy rising in the modern society, okay? So this book's talking about a lot, One is that, we have the forces of like ignorance, selfishness, darkness, which, as we can see, unfortunately, are very much manifest in the modern society, But on the other hand, we have this positive energy, which we call the Shambhala energy, yeah? Which is a whole different vision of how the world could be, which we'll talk about more as we go through this book, yeah? Okay? So Rinpoche used to say all this is part, whatever, new age, old age, whatever, all these therapies are part of the Shambhala energy rising, okay? So the first thing is, 60s, 70s, people would start to discover, there's other things, there's Madame Blavatsky, there's Alexandra David Neal, there's whatever, yoga, astrology come more in our society, okay? So now more or less we all, at least people who hang around our Dharma centers, we have this idea of subtle energy, on the gross level. So, okay, I have a headache, but somebody needs to stick a needle rather painfully into my knee. Why? Because my liver channel is there, and if my friend who's an acupuncturist stick a needle in there, then it helps my headache, yeah? Why? That's not my head, but we understand there's a subtle channel of energies, yeah? Okay? And we understand there's something of the life energy, the elements, okay? Yeah? So then, okay, we kind of got used to this, like in shiatsu and all these therapies, yeah, but then there's another level, which is the tantric system, which is more subtle, yeah, okay? Yeah? So we work on, when we do tantric meditation, we work with our central channel and 4, 5, 7 or 10 chakras, and with our meditation, concentration, good intention, and so on, we are working with these subtle energies called pranas, life energies, elements, yeah? And these life energies flow through our subtle channels, like a network of energy channels that flows through our subtle body. And inside there is what's called bindu or tigli, which is like the life essence, yeah, okay, our vitality, yeah. Okay, so this is one way of looking at how our energy system can work, you know. But we use like a multi-system, yeah. Sometimes we use more like the gross system, sometimes we use more like the subtle system, depending on what's happening, no? Okay, yeah. So then, so it's explaining about these subtle channels, the second paragraph, yeah?
In our subtle body, we have a circulatory system made up of 72,000 energy channels, which spread throughout the entire physical body like the branches of a tree. The central channel is like the tree trunk. It runs from a point between our eyebrows, curves up and around the skull like an umbrella handle, and then continues vertically downwards from the crown of our heads to our perineum. It has the diameter of a finger and is full of space. Along this central channel are situated the 5 main energy points or chakras, a Sanskrit word meaning wheel. These points are located at the crown, throat, heart, between our 2 breasts, navel, and sexual regions, and at the junction from where the main energy channels branch out. Each chakra has a different number of channels, which spread out like the spokes of a bicycle wheel. The heart chakra, for example, has 8 major channels from which branch out 24 channels that lead to the 24 energy centers of our body. These 24 channels again branch into more channels and so on. This network of 72,000 channels running throughout our body transport what are known as energy winds and essence energy drops. The subtle energy winds are composed of the 5 subtle elements of space, wind, earth, water, and fire, each of which is given a specific color. Our mind is inseparable from these energy winds.
I'm just going to the bathroom. Please, Nuna, can you read to the end of this paragraph?
Okay. Wherever the mind goes, the wind go. For example, when we see an object, it means that the energy winds located in our eyes have been stimulated, and when we experience a particular emotion, it means that the wind in the energy center related to it has been stimulated. The 5 negative emotions are located at the 5 main chakras. Ignorance is at the crown chakra, attachment at the throat, hatred at the heart, pride at the navel, and fear in the secret chakra. Through the practice of NgalSo Tantric self-healing, we can learn how to transform these mental defects into the 5 wisdoms, or pure crystal energies of wisdom, satisfaction, love, generosity, and courage. Our very subtle body and mind is located in the indestructible drop that resides inside our heart chakra and is made up of a combination of male and female energy. This drop is only destroyed when the mind and the body separate at the time of death. However, according to the Kalachakra Tantra, this drop is not always fixed in one place. During the course of our life, it continuously moves up and down the central channel, like a person in a lift. When the drop is in our crown chakra, it's said to produce our normal waking state of consciousness. At our throat chakra, it produces various subtle states of consciousness, such as dreaming, and when it rests in our heart chakra, we experience the fundamental level of consciousness that is difficult to recognize, but can also be experienced when we fall into deep sleep. The NgalSo Tantric self-healing practice helps us to gain control over this entire system of subtle energy. In this way, we become aware of and control the experience of our consciousness moving through its different states, helping us to promote good health and the clear light through awakening our fundamental consciousness. As a result of this, we can have a positive death experience without fear, control what happens after death, and also experience our pure crystal or enlightened nature.
Okay, so this part here, yeah, is basically, like, I would say, like a kind of introduction to the Himalaya, Tibetan, Buddhist view of the mind, yeah, okay. So, like I say, the Rinpoche's books, Lama Gangchen's books, they go together like a series, yeah? So, okay, we need to understand about the subtle body and like the relationship with the body and mind. Okay, that's in the medicine book. Okay, here's talking more about the mind specifically, but all this is inside the medical book, okay? Mm-hmm. Yeah, this way of seeing, of course, we know very well that there's, actually, you know, in Europe, no? They start in ancient Greece and stuff like that, they had anatomy for sure, but then during the Renaissance, they start again with anatomy, okay? But in the Tibetans, you know, they always, because they have sky burial, they don't have like much wood for burning people and the ground's hard, yeah? So their way of funeral is to cut up people's body, even nowadays, yeah? And feed the body to a vulture, okay? Because that's what they have as a funeral service, okay? So they knew very well since forever, you know, about human anatomy, yeah? So it's not, okay, so they knew very well actually about the organs, how it works and all this, the muscles, the lymphatic system and blah, 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 okay? In our Tibetan medical tantras, we have like ancient pictures, extremely, like a bit like Leonardo da Vinci, you know, when he started to do anatomy, okay, yeah? But the Tibetans were already doing it like much earlier, the Tibetans, the Chinese, the Indians and so on, yeah, okay? So this is like a worldview, you know, that we can, if you want to do Tantra, if you want to do healing, you know, if you want to fix your mind, whatever, it's a kind of integrated worldview that passes throughout all our practices, you know, okay? So if you want to do Lama Gangchen combined practice, we need to understand this stuff. If you want to just, I don't know, don't want to feel depressed, we need to know this stuff, you know, whatever, many, many different reasons, yeah, okay? Like a crystal, no, with many different facets. It's all the same crystal, but, you know, but once we understand this thing of this little bit, at least a little bit, you know, the subtle body, the mind, then we can apply medicine level, Tantra level, helping society level, making peace with the environment level, many different ways, yeah? So, like I say, here is super condensed, but it's just to give an overview, then, you know, what it's talking about is, this teaching is spread throughout all our book and sadhanas, actually, you know, okay? Yeah, so these things you need to feel, by the way, you know. Okay, you can't get an MRI machine and see your chakras or your channels, but if you meditate, you can definitely feel them, and you can definitely feel your pranas moving and so on, because these are actual phenomena, yeah, okay? Just not ones that we can see at the moment on MRI or whatever type of scanning machine we have at the moment. But it doesn't mean just because you can't see it on the machine, it's not there, because these are actual physical experiences that hundreds of generations of people have experienced and still do, yeah, okay? Yeah.
There is also a level of meditation where you can see, actually.
See what? You mean like the
Whatever.
Theravada, when you see like the lights, you mean?
You can see the channel, you can see
like
the colors.
Like in self-healing, that's part of the Lama Gangchen Tantric self-healing meditation practice, is to meditate and start to, get familiar with your central channel, go up and, we have this whole section of going up and down, looking, fixing your channels and so on. Yes, it's true. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, lot of exciting things to do, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, then please, Nina.
Psychosomatic illnesses from a Tibetan Buddhist perspective. According to the Buddhist perspective, mental disturbances as an illness can be caused by negative karma, by imbalances in the humors of wind, bile, and phlegm, by intoxications or poisoning, or by unresolved archetypes of the subconscious mind. In other words, by negative aspects of our mind.
Okay, that's already a big thing there. Just that little paragraph, yeah? Okay. Oh, like I say, when it says psychosomatic, it does not mean it's not true. We don't have the same idea of psychosomatic, because we tend to think, then you just give a placebo or say something and it goes away. So what we're saying is that real problems, real illnesses, they have also an emotional component which we need to heal as well. So just healing the physical part is not enough, because this is the Buddhist point of view, yeah? That until we heal with what's actually underneath, it will come back again and again, okay? Yeah? Because we haven't resolved the root, yeah? So, okay, so psychosomatic does not mean it's not true. For us, psychosomatic means also, I don't know, like any kind, like arthritis is, yeah? Any kind of illness, you know, yeah? Has a mental component, yeah? So then it says, okay, mental disturbances are caused by negative karma. For example, okay, this is a big subject, like in the Lam Rim teachings, yeah? For example, if I kill consciously or unconsciously, obviously if I kill consciously it's more heavy, more negative, yeah? Then one of the, everything you do comes back to you. So if you take the life of others, what will happen is you will have a shorter life, you know, basically. To put very simple, yeah? Good. Yeah, so we, certain, like when Lama Gangchen was healing people, okay? Then many people would say, I have this illness, this one, nobody can help me and all this. And then Rinpoche would say, So when you were like 19 or whatever, what happened to you, you know? And then they first they say, I don't know, and then they would think about it and say, oh yes, actually, you know? And I heard many of these, you know? Many people with like very difficult, strange sickness, yeah? There was something involving like harming others in their family, and I don't know, like, I remember one family, one person, yeah? They came to see Rinpoche. And Rinpoche said, at this age, what happened? And then they think about it. They say, oh, well, at that age, yeah, actually, we were living in a farmhouse and the whole roof was full of bats, yeah? And then we need to gas all the bats in the roof, you know, and kill them all, yeah? And then Rinpoche used to say, oh, that's, you know, one of the causes why you are ill, yeah, okay? It's like talking about the karmic causes of illness, yeah, which are not so obvious, yeah? We think, yeah, for example, we think, if we look at the condition and think it's the cause, like, for example, like, if you don't mind me using Anna Maria as an example, if everybody who smoked got ill, yeah, then Anna Maria would have got ill, yeah, up with 40 to 60 cigarettes a day for like many decades, no, yeah. So not everybody who smokes or, I don't know, smokes cigar, drinks too much, eats fat or whatever, you know, they don't all get ill in the same way because there's other factors involved, yeah, okay. That's why it's not just diet, it's not just lifestyle. If it was, we could control it. But so Lama healers, okay, they work together with doctors and psychiatrists, but they're looking for the other causes of illness, which maybe is not so obvious, and how to heal them, yeah? So they all work together, you know, like the doctors, the healers, the lamas, and so on, you know, okay? So, okay. So we can make ourselves ill by doing negative harm, by doing harm, yeah, okay, basically, yeah. Or, okay, we can unbalance our vata, kapha, and what's it called? Pitta, or, yeah, wind, bile, and phlegm, yeah, okay. How can we unbalance it? By following our wrong emotions or eating the wrong thing. There's many ways to unbalance your dosha, your humor, yeah, okay. Or we can intoxicate or poison ourselves, which seems quite easy these days, yeah, okay, yeah. Or we don't take care of the unresolved, like, things that's bothering us in our subconscious, yeah. So then all this negative aspect of the mind is creating mental unwellness, yeah, okay. There's a lot of stigma, right, around mental illness, yeah, okay. But from the, like I say, from the Buddhist point of view, everybody here is mentally ill, yeah. So, yeah. Well, unless one of you has realized emptiness, which could be, I don't know, because I'm not capable of knowing, yeah? But only in that case are you not mentally ill, and then you are less mentally ill, and then we need to heal the mind gradually. So the only truly healthy people are people who've reached nirvana or enlightenment, yeah? Okay? So all the rest of us have something to do. So really, we should not stigmatize mental illness, because it's a spectrum, and we are on it, yeah? Okay? Doesn't matter how many things we know or how many degrees we have or whatever, until we understand the nature of reality and heal our mind, we are also on that mental illness spectrum, yeah? So we need to be more kind, you know, and have more empathy towards people who have a bigger degree of mental unwellness than us, okay, yeah? So, you know, we shouldn't think, oh, this has got nothing to do with me, I'm okay. Well, if you, like I say, if you realise emptiness, sure you're okay. If not, better listen, yeah, okay? Me too, yeah, okay? So it's very, Lama Gangchen said, this is so beautiful, this book, so useful, yeah? And he said, why he suggests we need to read it many times is till we get the point, you know? Because like I say, in this book, there's all kinds of incredible information, and if we're not careful, we say yes, and then actually don't change at all, you know, yeah? So we need to repeat until something touches inside, you know, okay, till we get the point in somewhere or another, yeah? Okay, then please, Nunela, 27, next paragraph.
27. Due to the intimate connection that exists between the body and mind, for example, the body affects the mind due to dietary and environmental factors, and the mind affects the body through thoughts and emotions. We can use each aspect to generate either health or sickness. The Tantric medical tradition is holistic. It considers the person as one entity, not as a collection of parts, and concerns itself with the subtle as well as gross energies. Due to this, many of the diseases considered to have purely physical origins in the West are considered to be psychosomatic in this system. From a Tantric medical perspective, we can say that all illnesses have a psychosomatic component, although we obviously have to remember that external factors such as diet, environment, pollution, and behavior also play important roles. We can illustrate this concept by using the following example. If we are working under a lot of stress, perhaps caused by the anxiety or frustration of meeting an important deadline or fear of our boss, we may become depressed or aggressive, and as a consequence, suffer from physical disturbances such as headaches, back pain, or even stomach complaint. At this point, we start to smoke and drink more, skip meals, and sleep badly or not enough. This kind of behavior and diet consumes our subtle energy, which results in us becoming weaker and exhausted.
Yeah, so it's like, yes, we see it in things in a kind of holistic way. So, for example, you have a backache, okay, you have a backache, but why, okay? Is it just your posture, or is it because, a lifestyle, or is it emotional, or is it all of those, So, yes, I think nowadays, in the last 3-4 decades, this has become more easy, this idea of everything's integrated, But in the West, we have a lot of like specialists, medical specialists, and I don't know, like back or ear, nose, and mouth, and so on, yeah, okay? So, of course, one hand, Western medicine is super good for certain things, and we're not complaining, very happy to have it, yeah? Better than being in the Middle Ages, no, yeah? Mm-hmm. But, for example, if you have an eye problem, maybe it's your liver, and why, then you're eating the wrong things because actually you're upset about something and you're eating the wrong things to self-medicate, yeah? And this is why your eye problem's coming out. So there's like always more behind them. So, okay, of course, you need eye drops, this and that, glasses, but behind there's always something else, and there's something else is what we need to identify, yeah? So to treat people on different levels, of course, if you have an eye infection, you need to, have whatever, according to whatever system you like to follow, homeopathic, allopathic, whatever, you need some treatment, yeah, okay? But then there's many other levels of healing. So this is personally, I think very useful, this system, Lama Gangchen, okay, I observe him for many, many years, okay? And of course, he's a human being, yeah? Of course, he also, get little things. But what he did different from us is something, little thing appear, he would put out immediately, yeah? If you start to get little sick, he would take care, yeah? Yeah? It's not like us, we kind of ignore, no? And we let the habit go for a long time, and then, of course, come out some big sickness, yeah? Because I don't want to look at that, yeah, just ignore it, and then gradually it builds up and accumulates, and then the sickness manifests, yeah? And who did it is us, no? Okay, basically, okay? I mean, for sure, okay, there's environmental and genetic factors and all that, but like I say, if things don't shake hand, they don't manifest, yeah, okay, yeah? Yeah, so what we need to do is take that hand away, for sure we have all kinds of condition for all kinds of illness, mental and physical, but we need to not aggravate that, and in fact we need to use this hand to heal that so it gradually goes away, okay? Yeah? So anyway, yes, so this is giving like an overview of like the Buddhist way of thinking about health, okay?
Negative karma and negative thoughts. We are each responsible for the health of our body and mind, and therefore we need to become very aware and attentive to the negative thoughts that can cause us physical harm. Although doctors and therapists can assist us in the healing process, fundamentally we have to heal ourselves. This is at the base of NgalSo Tantric self-healing. We should never underestimate the power of negative thoughts because they can cause health disturbances and damage the environment around us. Our reality is created by our thoughts. The conviction that others treat us badly attracts that very same energy and behavior to ourselves. The wish to be surrounded by good friends can be realized above all by transforming our inner thought enemies into inner thought friends. A strong negative emotion such as anger affects the corresponding heart chakra by blocking the energy, which in turn energetically disturbs all the organs that are linked to the chakra by the channels. Persistent anger not only increases feelings of nervousness and frustration, but also increases physical disturbances such as angina, hepatitis, gallbladder, and intestinal disturbances, blood disorders, and blockages of the arteries. Instead of continuing to blame outer circumstances and other people when something we do not like happens to us, we should analyze and try to fully understand the negative effects of the mental poisons on our health. If we do not resolve and eliminate the negative karmic causes of our own emotional difficulties, no medicine, no matter how good it is, no surgical operation, no therapy or therapist can completely heal us. By healing the underlying mental and energetic disturbances, even what is considered to be a terminal illness can sometimes be healed.
Okay, so when we see somebody who's having a bad time, is sick, and there's many kinds of awful suffering, okay, what we need to do is feel empathy towards them. And if possible, if we can do something to help, of course, not many times not very easy, but at least we can send good wishes, prayers, mantras, dedications, you know. But Lama Gangchen, he always used to ask everybody, like, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? Because he was looking for people's capacity, yeah? So and he said, whatever capacity we have professionally, we should use in the service of others, yeah, okay? Mm. Yeah, because, you know, we're all different, yeah? He used to say, like, Buddha Chenrezig has, like, 1,000 hands, yeah? So we need to be like these different hands working together, you know, like, I don't know, one knows the law, one does graphic design, one's a psychotherapist, you know, one's a cook, whatever. Anyway, we have to find the way to help the others, yeah? And do something positive with our professional capacity, okay? That's one thing that Rinpoche always used to say, you know. So, like I say, all this is like the NgalSo worldview, you know. This is exactly like in self-healing, no? Okay? Like here it's talking about the heart chakra. We talk about any chakra, no? Okay? So, if we are an angry person or like a competitive person, you know, I want to be the best, I want to succeed, I want to be the head of the company, whatever, I want to be a star, you know, then we push, you know. So this is like gradually consuming the energy here in the heart chakra, yeah? And then, okay, also we're tired, like it says, we're tired, we don't take care of the lifestyle and all this, and this energy gradually gets depleted, and then many years later we get sick, okay? It doesn't happen so quickly, yeah, okay? But then comes out like a heart problem, liver problem, circulation problem, and then it's like, oh, how did this happen to me? Because I was a type A personality, always push all the life, and finally something break, no? Isn't it? Yeah, okay. I mean, that's just one example. There's each sickness, we can give the example, you know, how the emotional, slowly, these energies build up and manifest, yeah? Okay. Also, we don't take care of our relationship with the environment, no? Because each season has a different energy of wind, bile, and phlegm. We don't know, so also we accumulate those energies by not following the natural cycles. Yeah, okay. So gradually, sicknesses build up. You know, problems. So, like I say, this book is about heal yourself. Okay. Of course, you need a doctor. Of course, you need a therapist. But we need to. We shouldn't like outsource all our well-being to other people, like doctors, therapists, lamas. Yeah. We have to think. I am responsible. You know. Like Rinpoche used to say, your happiness is in your own hand, yeah? Like in Buddhism, they say an amalaki fruit, a myrobalan fruit in the palm of your hand, okay? But we need to realize we've got something in our hand that we can do something, yeah? Because we have very much this idea, oh, I'll go to the doctor, maybe, hopefully the doctor will fix me, but we need to work together in partnership, not just say, okay, you do everything, yeah, okay? Then we have much, much better chance of getting healed, yeah? So, for example, it says even people, this we saw with Rinpoche, okay? Even people who were like terminally ill, sometimes they came back, you know? I mean, not every time. You can also die and get healed, by the way, because death is not the end. Every case is different, but we saw, you know, yeah? Many people who were like, no chance, you know? And actually they live many, many more years, don't they?
We started with Giusy Gardenghi.
For example, please. Do you want to share the story? Huh?
So actually, one of the main examples of Rinpoche's work, or at least what he was trying to show us, was Giusy Gardenghi. Giusy Gardenghi was a lady from Bologna that 40 years ago was diagnosed as terminal, and I think she was given like just 2 months to live. So, of course, she refused to die, and
she's from Bologna, right? Yeah.
Huh?
Giusy was from Bologna,
Si,
right?
si, si.
Yeah.
And so somehow she connected with Geshe Champagyatso. At that time was the spiritual director of Pomaya, another Gelupa center. And this Geshe Champagyatso told her, you know, there is only one in the universe that can help you. And this one is Lama Gangchen Rinpoche. So it just happened a lot of condition that at that time Lama Gangchen Rinpoche was planning to go to Greece, so she went to meet Lama Gangchen. And actually I remember one time she was telling us that she wanted to meet, she wanted to live, but it was very difficult for her also to walk. So she had crutches, and to reach Rinpoche, there was a very big staircase, and she said, no, I can't make it, you know. But anyway, she had the strength to do that, and she met Rinpoche and invited him to come to Italy. So these only 2 months of life that she was left with actually turned into 22 years. You know, she lived for another 22 years. She was in full strength. And this very strange story goes that even her mother was determined to heal, you know, that she was supposed to die after another, I don't know, 1 month, 2 months. And of course, they had a lot of papers from the hospital declaring, showing, scanning, this and that. And the cancer just disappeared, just dissolved, you know, because this you have to discover yourself.
Also, I should like this many stories. Also, our friend Itzia from Spain, no? Yeah? Okay, I remember we were when Itzia came to, Jose Maria and Itzia came to Milan for the first time. Yeah, so our friend Itzia, so from Andalusia, wonderful person, but she developed cancer, okay? And actually really like severe cancer, so she come to Milan and come back. I still remember actually, they came with like a rose for Rinpoche, you know? Yeah. So, and then she really started to practice self-healing, you know. But actually she showed me a scan of herself, you know. She was in a medical book because she was like a medical miracle because her whole body was full of tumours, okay, yeah. Also you could smell the cancer on her breath, but then since 35 years more, impossible possible, she continued and she became a therapist and helped many people, you know, face their cancer. Also when people were terminally ill, she would take care of them, you know, she helped a lot of people. And to look at her, you just think this is not possible to live. She showed me like the scans of inside of her, yeah? But she carried on for many, many years like this, you know? Applying like Lama Gangchen method, yeah? So not just these two, actually, lots, yeah? Okay. Also like recently, no? We have there's lots, hundreds of stories, like one story that comes to mind recently is our friend Camilla from Sao Paulo, yeah? So she's young, no, in her 20s, but the doctor said heart is going, yeah? No chance to live, yeah? And she's like, oh, you know, I have little kids, I want to live, you know. And the doctor said, sorry, it's not possible, you know. But then, this is after Rinpoche passed away, okay. We give her one pill, yeah, okay, precious pill from Rinpoche. We said, this is for the heart, you know, take this, yeah. So she swallowed it, but actually by mistake, she swallowed and it go into her lung, okay, yeah. Then, of course, like medical emergency, yeah, okay. But anyway, so the Rinpoche pill actually went inside her lungs, yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, medical emergency, get out the pill and all that. But then after that, the doctors scan her and they said, oh, actually, strangely enough, your heart is much, much better, yeah? Okay, yeah. There's no, like this, and now it's still very good, you know? So like this, many, many stories, yeah? Okay? Okay, like many like extraordinary stories, but I tell you, even if you do this and you feel a little bit better, and it's okay, you know? Like each one of us, we will feel a positive benefit by putting these practices into our life, you know? Okay? Like there's many stories, and like over the course of this weekend, if anybody feels like to share, you're welcome. If not, anyway, we know there's lots of them, yeah? Okay?
Too many.
Yeah. You know?
So, we continue, number 2.
Okay. Yeah.
Imbalances in the humors of wind, bile, and phlegm. Creating a balance between our body and mind is something extremely important if we want to live a healthy and happy life. The NgalSo Tantric self-healing practice is a synthesis of most useful and effective methods within the sutric, tantric, medical, yogic, and astrological traditions of Himalayan Buddhism. It offers a myriad of techniques to create harmony between body and mind on the gross, subtle, and very subtle levels. According to Buddhism, the 3 main causes of disharmony are ignorance, attachment, and hatred. These 3 root poisons are our inner enemies, and they remain registered on the disk of our mental computer that accompanies us from life to life. These very imprints are what determine our rebirths, but also our body type and personality that are predominated by either the wind, bile, or phlegm humor. Excessive attachment generates a wind personality. People who are prone to stress, anxiety, nervousness, and mental disorders. Excessive hatred generates a bile personality. People who are violent and aggressive, subject to a weak circulatory system, heart, liver, and gallbladder disturbances, prone to fever and infections. Excessive ignorance generates a phlegm personality. People who are lazy, close-minded, and depressed, prone to weight, lung, and intestinal disorders. Each of these imbalances can be harmonized through correct diet, behavior, and environment, as well as through constant attention to mental attitudes.
Okay, so this bit here is like a summary of like 60 or 70 pages of the medicine book, yeah? Okay, so please get the medicine book, yeah? Okay. So we have these 3 biotypes, wind, bile, and phlegm, vata, kapha, and pitta, okay, yeah, well. So, for example, most people these days are stressed, yeah? Chronically stressed and anxious, yeah? Okay, self-medicating because they're stressed, unhappy, yeah? So, the Buddhist answer is very simple. Stop wanting so many things. I know it sounds a bit, cliched, but it's true, yeah? Why are we so stressed? Because we drive ourselves to always... It's not like what we need, it's always like this unattainable thing. If I had like more, bigger house, bigger this, better. And the whole life is going like that, and then you get all those things, and the next problem is now I got old and now I have to dispose of it, yeah? No, it's true, no? Then come in a whole other set of unpleasant problems with the relatives usually, okay? So whole life, we are stressed. Why? Because what we think we want and what we need is not the same thing, Like Lord Buddha Shakyamuni, he said, I promise I dedicate the merit I accumulated from 100,000 lives as a Chakravartin universal emperor so that all Dharma practitioners will have what they need to practice the Dharma. I didn't say everything you need, everything you fantasize that you think you need, so there's a big gap between, like what we think we need in order to be happy, healthy, and so on, and what we think we need and what we actually need is 2 very different things. Also damaging the environment, right? Yeah? Because always like more. If only I had that, Okay. So as Buddhists, okay, we need house, we need things to live, but like middle way, not nothing, but not also totally exaggerated. And if we lived within our means, yeah, okay, yeah. Each one has different capacity, different potential. But very few people in the West, in Europe, or South America, is starving to death, right? Okay, yeah. Other countries, yes, but we're in this like fortunate place. Well, that's not our case, you know. So, yes, yeah, I want to be less stressed, stop wanting so many things, yeah? A bit controversial, but there you are, yeah? Yeah, you want too much, yeah? Yeah? Mm-hmm. Yeah? Yeah? We want too much, yeah? We don't have 4 planets, we only have 1. So we all need to have like 75% less wants, yeah? Okay? Especially in the industrialized Western world, yeah? Yeah, in order for life on this planet to be sustainable, you know. So anyway, Buddhism offers a lot to say about environmental sustainability. I can't speak English anymore. Sustainability, and living in a simple way, you know, in an environmentally friendly way, you know, and having also, if you have less stuff, you have more time in your life. I mean, if you have less stuff, you have less things to clean, to dust, ultimately to dispose of, which is also not a fun subject, yeah? Those of us who are getting older, they know, yeah, this house, that house, and all this stuff, you know? Or first, a whole life, I had to get it, and then we got it, and now I need to get rid of it. Where's it going to go, you know? It's actually a suffering, no? So we need, like, take it more lightly. Of course, we need things, but okay. Or maybe just few nice things, not loads of things, you know. We have necessary, but then life is easier, you know. Yeah.
Less is more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and less is more. It's true, yeah. Especially this is Buddhism has a lot to say on the subject, yeah. Okay, have a few nice things, yeah. Okay, that last a long time, yeah. Be less stressed, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so this is the Vata type, yeah? Yeah, never satisfied, I want more, yeah, okay. In the medicine book, he explains in great detail about all this. This is a summary, yeah? Or people who are aggressive, you know, then too much heat in the body, getting the liver problem, gallbladder problem, heart circulation, yeah, okay. The ignorant type, the closed-minded type, phlegm nature, this is considered the best in Ayurveda and Tibetan system, because ancient times, remember, they don't have like Esilunga or anything like this. So if you're like prone to be big, you know, actually you've got more chance of living, to be honest, if you're big, healthy, you know, than if you're a little skinny thing, and then, okay, now there's not so much food, the little skinny one is going to suffer more than the one who's bigger, no? Okay. Mm-hmm. So this ancient way of thinking is the phlegm biotype is the best, you know, the calmest, yeah, the longest living, and so on, yeah, okay. Nowadays in the West, we got, I don't know, everything's like distorted, you know, how we like in the West, everybody, in modern times, everybody thinks how to be skinny or to be like bile type is the best, yeah. Very few people would say to be the phlegm nature is the best, but it's because we don't really understand things, you know, okay? So we have this like thin, nervous, aggressive type is like our type, isn't it, in modern society? Succeeding, I'm the best, you know, never stop, yeah? But the Vata type, actually, they live the least, yeah, because they're chronically anxious, yeah, okay? Then self-medicating all the life and gradually killing themselves, okay, yeah? Then the bile type, you know, it's got getting gradually more and more health problems. So anyway, we need to understand, yeah, what it is for us, yeah? And then start to do something about it. We're not judging the others, we're judging ourselves, yeah? Like I say, in our book, the Rainbow of Medicine Nectars, there's this chart, you know? If not, maybe you can find on the internet, but you need to find out what's your biotype, yeah? Okay? Yeah? So, and these like quizzes, you know, it's just like, well, what color is your tongue, you know, how do you sleep, how was your father, how was your mother, how's your digestion, yeah? And then you try, through these kind of like characteristics, you can figure out which is your biotype and then follow the advice, and it's more personalized, okay? Okay. Okay, so number 3, please.
Okay, number 3, intoxication or poisoning.
Yeah.
Intoxication and poisoning cause many types of mental illness. Excessive drinking, taking drugs, a bad diet, wrong medicine, and environmental pollution are all considered to be poisonous. On a subtler level, things such as electromagnetic radiation are damaging as they make the inhabitants of modern cities nervous and disturbed. We have to learn how to strengthen and protect ourselves energetically, as well as reduce our attachment to things that harm us.
Okay, so we can self-poison ourselves in many, many different ways by what we eat and drink, yeah, okay, yeah, or don't eat and drink, yeah, okay. Also, of course, the environment's very toxic, yeah, this is difficult to change, but we try slowly to do our best, yeah. So then, okay, this was written in the early 90s, so now it's a bit late for this one because almost everywhere is full of like Wi-Fi, this, that, yeah. I must say, actually, like, for example, here in Albagnano, like at the stone houses, actually, you do feel a bit better. Even though, of course, we do have Wi-Fi and stuff, but somehow these big, thick walls, it makes you feel a bit more calm, you know,
Yeah.
okay? That's why to go in the nature. Now, but like I say, if you go up a mountain in Tibet, sure, if you go to Kailash, you'll get your signal of your Wi-Fi, yeah? Nowadays, it's like everywhere. So now we have to do practices like Vajrapani, Black Manjusri, Medicine Buddha, these kind of practices to make our energy stronger because honestly, maybe if you go in some submarine down a marine trench or something, they've probably got Wi-Fi too, even now on the plane, you know? I used to quite like going on planes. I like finally one pause, you know, but now there's people bring, you know, even everywhere is that. So, okay, we need to adapt, yeah? Yeah? So we need to, okay, this technology also has many positive uses, okay, better to have more knowledge, better to be more connected, but we always need to use in a positive way, and yes, sure. All these rays, shouldn't get paranoid, but we need to become stronger energetically so they don't affect us, yeah? You know? You know, I mean, like, for example, I don't know, this is a big subject, yeah? Like, some people don't like microwaves, this and that, yeah? But anyway, what to do? Everywhere it's there, so better we become stronger so it doesn't affect us, yeah? You know?
Well, we can also choose.
But, for example, if you go out in a restaurant, yeah? A lot of the food is microwaved, you know, still.
Horrible.
Yeah? Yeah, but it's like that, you know? Everywhere you go, I mean, okay, get your, it's not phone, but you know what I mean? The signal is everywhere, you know? Okay? Here it's full. Our temple is full of Wi-Fi. Everywhere's full of Wi-Fi. Maybe if you go up even Monte Bianco, I'm sure there's a transmitter up there, yeah? Okay? So we need to adapt, yeah? Okay? Yeah? Every Lama and monk in the world has got an iPhone or an iPad, yeah? Okay? Yeah? You know, so anyway, so we need to adapt to changing times, yeah? And become energetically stronger, yeah? Okay?
I think what is important is this protect ourselves energetically.
Yeah.
And actually one of the meaning of mantra is mental protection.
Yeah, true.
Mind
true.
protection.
Yeah.
So this is very important, you know, but so we also understand why in many sadhanas we created the harmor, you know, through visualization and mantras. So just keep all the information connected.
Yeah, like for example, practices like Black Manjusri, Vajrapani are very good for like this energetic armoring, yeah? Okay, so like here, you know, the Vajra fence, you know, only positive energy can come in, negative energy stays outside, you know? Okay, yeah? Yes, it's true, that's why we do these kind of practices, no? Because we need to... Shantideva said, you cannot change the whole world, you know? If the whole world is covered in thorns, you cannot cover the whole world in shoe leather. You need to put shoes on your feet. So we need to do something to protect ourselves, yeah? Okay? You know, of course. What you can do to change the world, out the external world, to make it a better place, please do, of course. But in the meantime, anyway, we need to protect ourselves, yeah? So then there's one less sick and, disturbed person in the world giving problem to the others. Yeah? So at least that's a contribution to society, you know? Yeah, but intoxication, big subjects, you know, anyway. As we know, okay? Need to do the best we can to avoid that, you know? Okay, then please, Nila, number 4.
4. Unresolve the archetypes of the subconscious mind. People sometimes suffer from symptoms and illnesses for which the physical causes cannot be found. These are considered to be psychosomatic or karmic diseases. Our mind maintains the very deep negative imprints connected to the mistakes that we have made in the past, and it is these imprints that mature or ripen in this or in the future life. Out of ignorance, we have all committed very expensive negative actions that have left us with karmic debts to pay. As a consequence, we find ourselves weaker, both physically and mentally, and increasingly prone to pain and sickness. These same karmic imprints also create disorders that doctors are often unable to cure. In these cases, a solution may be found through a Lama healer or our own spiritual practice. We are all responsible for our own karmic debt, but instead of feeling guilty or behaving like a victim, we should use one of the many methods available to heal ourselves. It is worthwhile remembering what Buddhism teaches about karma. The results of actions are definite. The result of actions increase. If we do not do the action, its results cannot be experienced. The results of an action never disappears by itself. Accumulated negative karma, like a computer virus, has to be erased from our inner disk by accumulating merit through prayer, meditation, and positive mental and physical actions. We can erase negative karma, our inner computer virus, and heal ourselves of mental and physical diseases and their causes.
Okay, so this is something that Lama Gangchen used to give very, very often, this example, as I'm sure like Monica and Yune and all the old friends remember, you know. So Rinpoche always, okay, in the 90s the telephone was like this big, okay? Yeah? So he used to say, okay, here's my mobile phone, yeah, okay? Then he'd say, here I am, and I'm talking to my friends in Milano, blah, 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 okay, and there's coming one bill. Then I talk to my friends in Tibet, blah, 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 having a nice conversation. Mm-hmm. Then at the end of the month comes the bill to accompany Lama Gangchen, and then everybody has like heart attack when they see how much is this bill of me chatting to all my friends in Tibet, you know, Rinpoche used to say like that. So he said, just like calling some places is more expensive, yeah, yeah. It's before WhatsApp, remember, we didn't have anything like that in those days, just have the call, yeah. So he said, just like that, some actions are very expensive. Like, so anger is very expensive, you know, yeah? Yeah, you know, some actions are more expensive than others. So what I need to do is cut down my karmic telephone bill, yeah? I need to go on a different plan, you know? I need to reduce my debt, you know, if possible, cancel it. So, you know, I need to get something like WhatsApp or whatever for my mind, you know? Mm-hmm. So it's free, yeah? So some actions are kind of free, like being kind, helping the others, you know? The good actions cost very little, and the bad actions of body and mind are very expensive. But we don't realize because, you know, it's like when you speak on the phone, you don't get like the bill immediately, do you? You don't have like a counter showing how much it costs, otherwise you immediately switch it off, no? Yeah? So there's like this disconnect between our actions and the result, yeah? And that's the thing, we don't know how much things cost, then gradually our karma bank, we use up all the energy and then we're very weak and then many things manifest we don't want, yeah? So here also comes the idea that we need to put positive energy into our karma bank by doing good things, helping the others. Like here in Albagnano we do a lot of Lama Chirpa Sog Puja. Why? To make a positive energy that we can then utilize to help the others, you know, okay? So this is another important idea, yeah? Lama Gangchen. I need to cut down my karmic telephone bill, yeah? So every time you look at your phone, you think, yeah? Just like if I call to, I don't know where, Peru or Brazil or Tibet or wherever without my WhatsApp and just my normal phone, then it cost me so many times, you know, in Milano, yeah? the telephone company would phone us up and say, what are you doing? This is not possible. This is not a private house. This is impossible that anybody would make so many expensive calls, yeah? Then we say, oh, no, you know, we have Lama Gangchen, he's a healing Lama. Yeah, and every month it was the same, you know, they're like huge bills, yeah, okay? So Rinpoche knew what he was talking about, yeah? Okay? So we need to cut down our karmic bill, yeah, okay? If not, we get very expensive side result and we have to suffer, yeah, okay? Yeah? Yeah?
So...
Also, one thing is we cannot experience the karma of somebody else, okay? Unless you are like a 10th ground bodhisattva, then you can, okay? Or some very high level, but normal people cannot, yeah? We are responsible for our own experience, yeah? We can, you know? Yeah? Anyway, so...
We continue?
Please, yeah? Okay.
An outline of Tantric psychotherapy. Tibetan medical science, in Tibetan is called Soarikpa, is a comprehensive holistic healing system based partly on teachings given by Buddha Shakyamuni 2,500 years ago in India. These entire medical teachings can be divided into two categories: psychotherapeutic to heal the mind and somatic to heal the body. Buddha Shakyamuni revealed a total of 84,000 teachings, each an antidote to the suffering caused by the 84,000 potential psychological and physical disorders that afflict human beings. These 84,000 teachings are what we now call in the West the spiritual medicine of Dharma or Buddhism. By applying these teachings to our own mind, we can test the effectiveness of these psychological self-healing techniques. Buddha Shakyamuni only taught to his disciple the healing methods that he himself had personally experienced. He always insisted that people should not follow him out of blind faith, but should check his teachings as carefully as one checks the purity of gold.
Okay, so Tibetan medicine is called Soa Rigpa. Rigpa means like knowledge, okay? And Soa, like NgalSo, yeah? So means recovery, so it's the knowledge, the wisdom of how to recover, you know? Okay, is what it means in Tibetan, yeah? Okay, so anyway, like I said, this is like a summary of the main kind of ideas, you know? So, okay, so like Buddha Shakyamuni, as you know, yeah? When he was Siddhartha and he's left the palace and he's been experimenting with meditation and he'd been to different gurus and things like that, finally he said, I'm just going to sit down under this tree in the Bihar forest. I'm going to face my own mind and I'm not getting up until I achieve freedom, okay? Yeah. So then he sat down under the tree of awakening, the Bodhi tree, okay? And as we know, we all seen the film or the Life of Buddha or whatever on YouTube, hopefully. Keep on, yeah? Mm-hmm. He has to face his own mind, yeah, his own demons, yeah. So then come this whole army of demons, not like not like demon in the West, you know, with trident, not like that idea. It's more like what's inside of you, you know, yeah. So then he see his own desire, his hatred, all his like defect, like as personified, yeah. And he had to make peace with his demons, yeah, okay, yeah. His negative emotions. That was a really important part of his getting awakened, getting enlightened, yeah? Okay, so we also have to do that, you know? We also have to face, each one's different, no? We have different complex and emotional damage and stuff, so each one we need to face what's bothering us and we need to actually make friend with that part of our mind, make peace with it, okay? Like Buddha did, yeah? So when the Buddha was meditating, yeah, and all come the army of Mara, okay, yeah? So throwing all kinds of weapons, trying to disturb him, and then he just meditate on love, yeah? He's making peace, no? Making friends with all these aspects of his own consciousness, yeah? Yeah, and the weapons, you know, they become rain of flowers, yeah? Yeah, so hatred is turned into love, yeah? Okay? So, you know, so this is what we have to do ourselves. We have to face what's in our own mind, our own subconscious, yeah? Okay, but like the Buddha, he managed to do it all at once, yeah, according to the story. But for us, it's like a gradual process, yeah, facing my this, my that, depending on what's in our own mind. So it's a long process of self-healing, yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, maybe we just do the last paragraph and then role of the Lama Healer, then we stop before lunch. So like I say, this is a summary, actually, of many important ideas in the NgalSo tradition and also in the medical side of the thing, yeah? Okay.
The role of the Lama Healer. In Buddhism, psychiatry is the domain of the Lama Healer, who thanks to his tantric power and energy is able to subjugate and transform the powerful negative energies of the unconscious even when they have broken through into the conscious mind. These dark unconscious forces are embodied in destructive behavior or in the form of our inner demons that we need to acknowledge and make peace with to transform our emotions and past traumas. This healing process, the transformation of the unconscious mind and its integration with the conscious mind, is a vital self-healing journey which everyone needs to undertake to become truly psychologically healthy. Buddha Shakyamuni passed through this psychological process on the eve of his enlightenment in Bodh Gaya, India, seated in the stable meditation posture after he had vowed not to rise until he attained enlightenment. He remained in deep meditation under the Bodhi tree. That night, He confronted the army of demons of his own subconscious mind. They manifested every possible hindrance to prevent him from fully purifying and integrating the subtle energies of his body, speech, and mind. Through his powers of concentration, Shakyamuni subjugated all the outer, inner, and secret demonic forces and energies, developing from them equanimity, love, and compassion. His equanimous attitude allowed him to treat the malevolent beings that wished to harm him in exactly the same way as he would treat his disciples and well-wishers. He was thus able to transform their destructive, chaotic, and disharmonious energy into positive, joyous, and compassionate, pure crystal energy. The weapons of the demon forces were transformed into a blissful rain of flowers that dissolved into space, and the demons, vowing obedience to Shakyamuni, were able to direct their energies in a positive and useful direction. Thus, Shakyamuni became free from hindrances and finally completed the ultimate mind-healing meditation, Vajra-like concentration, that allowed him to fully integrate the energy of his body and mind. As the sun rose, he manifested the pure and powerful mind and body of the Buddha, the fully awakened one. This is a powerful archetype containing the essential message of NgalSo Tantric self-healing. We must face and overcome our inner demons so that our pure crystal mind can arise. Lama healers are confronted and overcome the demonic powers of their own unconscious mind, and because of this are able to help those who have psychological disturbances. It is only by healing our own mind that we can become strong enough to heal the minds of others. Tantra can help us achieve this aim, and to use tantric psychotherapeutic healing methods, we are not obliged to be Buddhist. These techniques are archetypal and can be used beneficially by people of every faith and culture, as well as by those who believe in nothing. There are ancient healing practices that can help pacify the tide of physical, mental, and emotional difficulties engulfing the modern world. This NgalSo Tantric self-healing practice is the continuation of Buddha Shakyamuni's teachings of how to deeply heal our mental and emotional interferences and regain our physical and psychological well-being.
Okay, so I just need to emphasize one thing, So, of course, like I say, we're all on a spectrum of mental illness, all of us, except for people who are enlightened, okay? So, but, for example, here is called Albagnano Healing Meditation Center, okay, So, of course, all kinds of different people come here and they're very welcome. But we do ask people who have, many people have things that they don't know about, that they haven't identified. But if you have some mental difficulty that is identified, and you're doing a treatment with a doctor or psychiatrist or therapist, you should continue, and we ask people to disclose their medication and stuff like that before they come here, Okay? So this is together with whatever treatment you're doing. Please don't think, okay, I quit all what I'm doing already for my mental health, It's not suitable, Times are different from before, Okay? Also, these Asian ways of dealing with the mind, it takes time, In the West, whether it's good or bad, let's say we can take one pill, one painkiller, which will suppress the feeling of physical or mental pain, okay? It's not an ideal situation, but anyway, we like to not feel, okay? Not feel physical or mental pain, But the Asian way of healing, is like to address the underlying causes, whether it's your dashes, your humors, whether it's your emotion, whatever it is underneath, and slowly we change by diet, behavior, mantra, yoga, many different ways. And so gradually, after doing self-healing, Peace the Environment, Vajrapani, Medicine Buddha, Black Manjusri, White Tara, and gradually, slowly, we get healed from underneath, Then finally, what we can see is getting better, So like I say, many Western people are quite surprised by this approach because we're used to this idea, just take something, take some pills and, it suppresses, yeah? Maybe, okay, something helps, but the deep things underneath, we don't know how to do something mainly in the West, But we're good at semantic medicine, like how to, I don't know, if you break your leg, fantastic. If you need a surgery, fantastic. If you need certain kinds of emotional things, like emotional pain, they can suppress, by various kinds of drugs, which suppress part of your biochemistry, yeah? But it's not the entire solution, okay? Yeah? So we need to work on the underneath slowly. It might take like months, it might take years, yeah? So that's why we ask people who come to declare, whatever is there. It's okay, we don't tell anybody, it's private between you and the center, But please, everybody is welcome, but please tell us, what's your thing, so also we can be aware and if possible try and help you, okay? Yeah, it's an important detail, yeah? So also you shouldn't, of course, maybe you don't want to disclose to the community, but please tell us so that we know, yeah, okay? Yeah? Then it's better, Lama Gangchen, he was like so strong, he was in like really Vajrapani manifestation. I used to think he was like a rock in the sea, and there's like all these big waves crashing and he was just there, Lama Gangchen, very happy, very kind, very empathetic, but he was like a rock, yeah, energetically, yeah, okay?
Gangchen.
Yeah,
Great mountain.
Like Gangchen means snow mountain, like Himalaya, like this big, unmoving, just full of bodhicitta energy, full of compassion and whatever was going on with the people around, it's just the same, Perhaps it's why many people were attracted to him, because of this profound mental stability and love and empathy that maybe many of us we never feel before, truly, It's a place where we could be totally stable, So anyway, now it's our turn. We need to develop these energies. Rinpoche make everything for us, Actually, he was so happy when we make this. He said, this is fantastic. Like he said, so beautiful, so useful, yeah? So need this one, We need to, our minds need to be, our minds needs to become stronger. So this is one way to do it. So I was really, really pleased that we had this, So now we need to try and become, like Gangchen snow mountains ourselves, yeah? Okay, big or small, doesn't matter, but more stable, okay? Anyway, so slowly we continue. Today is introduction, okay? We're going to read like some of the important concepts. Tomorrow morning we'll do the initiation of Vajrapani, Hayagriva, Garuda. And then, okay, all this we're not going to finish in a few days, but we start, yeah, okay, then gradually continue. Why not, yeah? Okay, so please, anybody who doesn't have one, okay, in our shop they have this, Italian, English, please get, because presumably if you're interested, you come here and want to listen to this, or you're following on the streaming, it means you want to know. Then you should get this new updated version. Then, otherwise, yes, then forgot tomorrow, yeah? Mm-hmm. Then next week, completely forgot, nothing went in, yeah, okay? So at least if we have the book, the sadhana is there, all these concepts are in here, so we can take a look again and refresh our mind, and, okay? Okay, so now is lunchtime, okay? Lucio Sampo Pelgyuta Shipa Tu Chentem Pehitile Yanodam Pegietro Lo Zampeze Pachen Palden La Mehishela Chupabu Om Ahum Om Ahum Om Ahum. Okay, buon appetito. What time do we start? 3, no?
3 o
3:30. What time?
Sapete a che ora iniziamo oggi pomeriggio?
3.
Alle 3.
Oh, okay, because actually we have a lot of things to read, listen, think about, So, yeah. So those who come back at 3. We continue reading the introduction, yeah, and talking about the key concepts of the Vajrapani practice. Okay.
Can I say one thing?
Of course, yeah.
I just bought this copy, which it's an incredible, really knowledge, very useful. And I don't know, it is just 8 euros because there is an invisible.
Too cheap.
Who?
It's too cheap.
Yeah, it's absolutely too cheap. So, and because there is an invisible secret sponsor who made an offering, so I just would like to thank this secret.
Okay, thank you, secret sponsor.
Please do it again. More.
Thank you. like I say, many things here happen we don't know, so it's good actually always to thank people, you know. Yeah, thank you. Anyway, have a nice lunch. See you at 3. Grazie. Ciao.